What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. I am your host for today, Simon Villanos, aka Coach V, and this is your Week 5 NAIA Women's Flag Football recap here. This was a big week. We have just about 16 games here from March 13th to March 18th. Ton of games. We had that flag football frenzy in Kentucky. Shout out to Campbellsville for hosting that. That was big time. A really good chance to get a good look at a lot of teams and whatnot. See not only their starters, but their depth as well, which I think is really important. And in addition, we had some pretty important matchups here in the KCAC as teams begin to battle for positioning in that conference and whatnot, and so we'll definitely talk about those. A lot of big time games, big time performances here. By the way, I am recording this on March 16th 2023, so the Saturday games have not happened yet, but we'll talk about those when we get to those. And for the sake of this episode, I'm probably just going to talk about all the NAIA matchups. I know teams like Ottawa, Thomas, more are going to play like teams like Fort Lauderdale and some two-year colleges as well. Florida Gateway, that's one as well. I'm probably going to mention those actually in the power rankings section, and so if you want to hear my thoughts on those, you could check that out in that section. But I really want to leave the recap part for a lot of these games, NAIA games here, because there are a lot. Like I said, 16, and so this is going to be a long episode. Look, feel free to go ahead and go to the timestamps, skip around as you want, but you know, there are some really good games here and plenty of great opportunities for athletes to step up, make plays, and establish themselves for their team. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it because we got a long one this episode. The first matchup I do want to talk about is number 2 Thomas, by the way, according to our power rankings. So number 2 Thomas versus number 12 Campbellsville. Campbellsville playing host to this whole tournament. Once again, shout out to them. Let's go ahead and hop into this game here. So this game starts with Campbellsville out here on offense, and per usual, a Thomas game. Jada Reese gets the party started with a sack, but the next play, Marissa Rankin finds Hannah Love near the sidelines, who goes and gets the first down for a gain of about 5. That gets them here into the next section just before midfield. But couple plays later, it's third down. Thomas playing really good defense, plus a couple Campbellsville mistakes, mishandles on the snap. Rankin throws the quick check down to Yaneli Quiros, who gets her flag pulled pretty quickly here. It's not close enough for Campbellsville to feel comfortable going for it, so they go ahead and punt it just like that. Now, about 9 minutes here, Alexa Wilson in at quarterback for Thomas goes ahead and gets a big-time play to get this thing going here. Goes over the middle, finds her receiver, Giselle Jones, on a big-time 30-plus yard touchdown, hitting the post route to go ahead and split the safeties. Giselle Jones with a great extension catch here, and then getting the rest of the job done. She walks in, gives Thomas the 6-0 lead, and then following that on the extra point, Alexa Wilson goes ahead and runs it in, making it a 7-0 lead. Now Campbellsville trying to respond back here on a third down situation. Rankin feels the pressure, tries to throw to her check down, but Nakara Brown reads this all the way, jumps in front of that check down pass, picks it off, and goes ahead and returns it to the house for a 30-yard pick six, just about 30-yard pick six, making it 13-0. The extra point is no good, so it stays there for now. Now Rankin trying to get something going, goes out and checks it down to Yaneli Quiros. That gets them a first down here. Following that, a couple plays later, it's third down. They go ahead and try to take a shot downfield. It's incomplete. It's actually a pass breakup by Keira Knight and NAIA Glover, I believe. But the refs go ahead and throw PI on this one. And so that goes ahead and gives Campbellsville, the first down pass midfield. And that's where we pick up here in the second quarter. A couple plays in, second down, Jada Reese applies pressure, and Keira Knight gets a huge interception on an errant throw from Rankin. That puts Thomas just slightly past midfield. Good defense by Thomas per usual. Now, Thomas, they're trying to get something going here, but unfortunately, some great pass rushing by Anaya Showers, including a really good breakup as well by Yaneli Quiros on third down, would force Thomas to go 3 and out. Turnover on downs, just a very uncharacteristic drive for Thomas here. They had a drop and an incomplete pass against pressure. And so Campbellsville gets the ball back, about 7:20 to go here. It comes down to a fourth down play after a nice slant route to Angeline Beecher. Fourth down, they're a little short here. They go ahead and call a design quarterback run to Marissa Rankin, but she is stopped pretty short here. And so that's a turnover on downs. A little bit of an interesting play here, but it is what it is. You learn from your mistakes. Now 4:40 left here in the second quarter, trying to see if Thomas could get something going. But once again, it comes down to a fourth down play here. Thomas deciding to go for it, and here's what happens. Wilson decides to take off running left on, I think it looks like a quarterback designed run here. It doesn't look like a pass play because her receiver on the left doesn't really run a route. It looks kind of like a runoff route really here that you do on run plays here. And Wilson runs her way, but she is stopped pretty well short, like 5 or 6 yards short here. So I don't know if it was a miscommunication or what, but just not the greatest play, I guess, to call here or decision to make here on 4th and 6. And so that is a turnover on downs, but no worries. Thomas goes ahead and makes up for it. A couple plays in, Britt Deva makes a great read and intercepts the football once more, and she goes ahead and takes it to the house for a big time pick 6, putting up Thomas 19-0 with about 48 seconds left here. Anaya Showers would actually sack Yara Knight on this extra point, making it no good. Now Campbellsville has about 50 seconds to get something, but they do not, and so that is the score going into halftime, 19-0. Now, to start the second half here, Shelby Hartley would go ahead and get the start. I mean, they're up 19-0. It's a long tournament, a long week. You want to make sure you get some rest here when you can. But they go ahead and start on offense, and after initially getting a first down, thanks to a Margarita Pena catch for that first down, they do reach a fourth down situation. Impartial thanks to a third down play where Hartley does scramble right and throws it deep, but Presley Payne for Campbellsville, who in my opinion had a really impressive week, played it really well, got a good pass deflection, forcing that fourth down situation. And on fourth down, they decide to go for it, and Hartley takes a shot deep, but unfortunately this one is out of bounds, and that's a turnover on downs. Now for Campbellsville, they're just trying to get on the board. There's about 6 minutes left here. A lot of the clock was used on that Thomas drive, and so here's what happens. Second down here, they go ahead and call a swing route to Presley Payne, who gets a huge gain of about 15 plus yards, making a couple players miss on this play here, and that is good enough to get Campbellsville in the red zone for the first time today. But unfortunately, after a couple run plays, it's about 4th down and 6 here. Campbellsville obviously going for it, and they do, but it's, I believe, excuse me if I mispronounce this, I'm so sorry, but it's Denisia Turner makes Campbellsville pay and cashes in for Thomas by snagging another interception in the end zone this time and returning it out for Thomas. That was big time. That kills that drive, and that's basically where we are going into the fourth quarter. Still 19-0. That was probably Campbellsville's best chance of scoring right on that drive. And so here's what happens next. It's third down here in the fourth quarter. Hartley throws a perfect corner route pass to the freshman star, emerging star here in NAIA Wood, who also makes an electrifying catch, a great catch here over the shoulder for a big time play here of about 30 yards. Just a great play by Hartley here on third down, throwing a perfect ball here, and then NAIA Wood going ahead and getting this one. This was pretty well covered too. Wasn't like Campbellsville just wasn't playing defense. This was as good as it gets football wise, and so that's a first down and whatnot. Past midfield, I want to say, or just before midfield. So there you go there. But doesn't matter, as Hartley finds Turner on the slant route, who breaks loose for another 15 yards. That's past midfield and a first down. Now a couple plays later, third down here, Shelby Hartley goes over the top to Kiara Knight, who stops in between zones, it looks like, or in between defenders, makes a great catch, and then goes ahead and gets a couple more yards. That's a first down in the red zone. That goes for about 15 plus yards. Now a couple plays later, they're in the red zone looking to really nail this thing away here. Shelby Hartley on second down goes ahead and throws the fade route to NAIA Wood towards the right corner. Once again, great timing by both the quarterback and receiver. NAIA Wood goes ahead and makes an excellent catch and makes it a 25-point lead here, and that's where it stays as Thomas defeats Campbellsville 25-0. Big time game here. I believe player of the game has to be Britt Delva. She did get that pick six that made this game a 3-score game, and up until that point it was a pretty close game, a closer game, I would say there. But obviously a lot of players contributing for Thomas here. Let's go ahead and talk about the stats. Let's talk about the stats because we have them. Shelby Hartley, 6 of 14, 78 yards. A touchdown, did start that whole second half for the most part there. Then you have Alexa Wilson here, 4 of 8, 50 yards and a touchdown. That is the wrong name. I don't know why they have someone else's name on this box score, but that was definitely Alexa Wilson there. So there you go. Rushing, obviously not too much. Pena had 4, Hartley had 5, so there you go there. Receiving though, let's talk about that. Aaliyah Wood, the lead receiver, 4 receptions, 52 receiving yards, and a receiving touchdown. Right behind her, you have Giselle Jones with only 1 reception, 32 yards, and a receiving touchdown. And actually, according to this, only Aaliyah Wood had multiple receptions, which is really interesting there. But, you know, go figure. Now, looking at tackles here, Bridelva, who is the player of the game, did lead with 3. Also had that pick 6 there. It also says she has a forced fumble, but that doesn't make any sense there. But, you know, it is what it is. So there you go. Those are the stats, at least according to the box score for Thomas. For Campbellsville, Marissa Ranking starting at quarterback, 11 of 18, 42 yards. Did throw a number of interceptions. Just a really tough go for her there. So, boom, there you go. Rushing on the day, Ranking did leave Campbellsville with 21 rushing yards there. And then their lead receiver kind of looks, I mean, it's not great, but it was Presley Payne with 3 receptions, 15 yards. Hey, this Thomas defense is for real. And then JC Harper leading in tackles with 3. So, boom, there you go. Those are your stats for that game. Okay, now moving on here, Campbellsville stays on the field, and they would go ahead and play Warner right after that game. Warner right now, according to our power rankings, is number 4 and surging. So there you go. Obviously, Campbellsville is still there at 12. Not much has changed. So let's go ahead and hop into this game. Campbellsville starting on offense, and this is what happens. Marissa Rankin does go ahead and get the first down to extend this drive. She does that on second down by scrambling, getting them into that next zone. But unfortunately, a couple plays later, comes down to third down here. They need to get a couple yards. Rankin is forced to scramble, but she is stopped short. That's how a lot of these runs are going for Campbellsville, at least against Warner here early in this game. And so it comes down to fourth down and just about inches here. And so here's what happens. Marissa Rankin rolls out right, throws it to a receiver. I think that's Angeline Beecher, but this one is dropped. That is a turnover on downs. And so Warner takes over just past midfield. Madison Tingen here starting at quarterback. She gets the party started right, rips it to Cynthia Holmes here, who goes ahead and grabs this one on the dig route. That goes for the first down in the red zone. A nice little play of about 15 to 20 yards there. Following that, Tingen throws it over the middle once more. That goes for a nice gain, short gain of 3 or 4 yards. You know what? Let's go ahead and fast forward here just a little bit here. A couple plays in, does come down to a fourth down situation after a nice play on third down where JC Harper makes an excellent deflection. Fourth down, they're going for it obviously. Madison Tingen goes ahead and finds her number 1 receiver and the star Cynthia Holmes, or at least she targets her, but it is JC Harper once more coming up with a big time deflection. This one was actually almost intercepted here, but it's a turnover on downs. Campbellsville takes over after a nice stand right there. About 4 minutes left here in the first quarter. Pitch to Presley Payne, the standout athlete, spins for the first down. They also tag on a holding penalty on Warner, so boom, there you go, a couple more yards there. But unfortunately, a couple plays later, it comes down to 3rd and 5 here. Marissa Rankin, that was a pretty good ball to Presley Payne, who spins out of a tackle, but unfortunately stumbles and falls down, and she is just short of the first down here. And so Campbellsville actually decides to punt this one instead of going for it. Definitely a situation that was a pretty manageable one for them, but it is what it is. Now, let's go ahead and go into the second quarter. That's where this drive takes place here. Here's what happens. They're just, I think they're just before midfield here. But Madison Tingen goes ahead and takes a shot deep, but Presley Payne is there step for step. Plays great defense, almost intercepting it, but just bats it down here. That brings up second down here, where Madison Tingen does check down to Jenna Marrero, her running back / quarterback, other quarterback, who gets them the first down past midfield. But a couple plays later, it is 4th down and 4 here. They go ahead and call offsides. It's a hard count here, and so they call offsides on Campbellsville's NAIA Showers. That gives them an automatic first down, putting them in the red zone for the second time here in this game, and the first time in this second quarter. But once again, it comes down to a 4th down situation here. Madison Tingen, she throws it, but it looks like it might have been deflected at the line by Anaya Showers, as it comes up really short of her intended target, and so definitely had to have been tipped at the line just slightly. And so that is a turnover on downs, another goal line stand by Campbellsville. And so here we go, Campbellsville. Hey, it's still 0-0 at this point. No one has scored, trying to get something going, and this is what happens. Rankin throws to her teammate, that is number 1. It's on Rojas Gibbs, who makes 2 defenders miss before getting knocked out of bounds. But they do call a flag guarding call on Campbellsville, so that moves them back a little bit. But I guess it was after she got the first down, because it's still a first down. So there you go. But it does come back down to a 4th down play here. By the way, after a nice third down play where Rankin gets her flag pulled by Jasmine Chima, which was pretty key, forcing that fourth down. And on fourth down, unfortunately, they go ahead and decide to punt it in part of because of that play from Chima there. And so about 2 minutes left here. Here's what happens. Jenna Marrero, she is now in at quarterback. She finds Lexi Mosley, gets a good gain of about 6 or 7. Following that, Marrero goes ahead and finds Holmes on the out route, who gets them a first down. That also puts them in the red zone, their third red zone trip of the day here. So there you go. But on first down, Marrero tries to scramble, stopped at the line. That brings up second down here, where Jenna Marrero goes ahead and makes up for that. Throws a quick hitter to Holmes, who goes ahead and walks this one in for a touchdown, making it a 6-0 Warner lead. And then following that on the extra point, Marrero goes back to Holmes, who gets the conversion. That makes it a 7-0 lead, and that is the score going into halftime. 7-0 Warner over Campbellsville. Campbellsville with some key stops here, but just not quite getting it going, as Warner has also had some key stops, specifically on third down. And so here we go in the second half. Tingen back in at quarterback. On the snap, finds Holmes on the out route. That's good for a first down. Then following that, Tingen throws it up, and Anna Vincencini makes the nice catch on the, it looks like a tipped pass here, which is kind of crazy. But she eventually goes ahead and gets them in the red zone. That's a huge 30-plus yard gain here. Great concentration catch for Vincencini, and then getting some more yards after the catch there. So there you go. Now, first down in the red zone, fourth trip of the day. Madison Tingen tries to go to Amiri Logan, who kind of bobbles this ball, but Presley Payne gets the job done and forces an incompletion, getting a hand in there. So that brings up second down here, where they go ahead and direct snap it to Jenna Marrero, who gets it down to the 1, but no worries here. Marrero, same play, punches it in for a touchdown. That's another rushing touchdown. Another touchdown for Jenna Marrero. That makes it a 13-0 lead. The extra point, once again, is no good here. Now, Campbellsville, they do get the ball. They do get the first down here off of Marissa Rankin's scramble, but it comes down to fourth down once more here. After on third down, a very bad snap would put them in a very difficult situation, and so Campbellsville has to punt it. And so here we go. Warner with a chance to go up by 3 scores. About 5 minutes, 30 seconds left in the third quarter here. Third down, Madison Tingen throws it to Anna Vincencini, who once more catches another tipped ball. This ball is just tipped up in the air, not batted down. Vincencini, great hands, great concentration once more, comes down with it. That's a first down just past midfield. A couple plays in, it's third down here. Gianna Huang on the direct snap goes ahead and gets them a big gain here for a first down in the red zone on that direct snap play. And so that is where they are going into the fourth quarter here. In the fourth quarter, it is third down. Tingen kind of throws it up in the air, but it looks like a Warner receiver falls down in the end zone here, and so it looks like their feet just get tangled, and Presley Payne makes the interception here for Campbellsville, going ahead and killing that promising drive for them. So 10 minutes 40 seconds left. I mean, it's not quite over here. It's only a 13-0 lead, but you got to start scoring. And that starts with Marissa Rankin on 3rd and 5, running the option here, the power option, pitches it to Presley Payne. She goes ahead and gets them the first down, putting in a lot of work here. But a couple plays later, 3rd and 9 here. Marissa Rankin tries to throw it down the right side, but Nicolette DeSimone makes a pretty tough deflection here, forcing a fourth down and forcing yet another Campbellsville punt. And so here we go, 6:40 left in this game. This one is pretty much over, but a Warner touchdown would really seal this one. And here's what happens. It's a double pass here, and it ends with a Marrero finding Andrea Castillo for a nice 15-yard gain. It's about second down and inches, not quite a first down here, but it doesn't matter, as eventually on third down, Tingen throws the swing route to Marrero, who goes ahead and gets the first down here on a solid 4-yard gain. And then after an incompletion, it's second down here. And on second down, Madison Tingen goes down the seam, finds her favorite target, Cynthia Holmes, who brings it in and almost walks in for a touchdown, but is stopped short. They are in the red zone, and that was a pretty big 20-plus yard gain here. Doesn't matter though, as on the next play, Madison Tingen throws the slant route to a Mary Logan, who makes a tough catch. And most importantly, makes it a 19-0 game here. And then on the extra point, Tingen to Holmes on the slant makes it a 20-0 game. And that is the final score here. Warner winning 20-0. Player of the game, in my opinion, has to be Jenna Marrero. 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. Really got this offense going here after a little bit of a slow start here. But definitely a good showing by Campbellsville, playing pretty good defense in this game. Let's go ahead and look at the stat sheet here. Madison Tingen for Warner, 12 of 25, 180 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. It is what it is. Jenna Marrero here, 5 of 5, 44 yards, 1 passing touchdown here. On the rushes for the day, Huang had that 11-yard rush that went for a first down. Trinity Kieran had an 11-yard rush. And then it looks like Jenna Marrero, 3 attempts, 13 yards, and that 1-yard-ish rushing touchdown as well to go along there. Their leading receiver, Cynthia Holmes, 9 receptions, 124 passing yards, 1 receiving touchdown. Just going crazy in this game and really being kind of the brunt of this offense in this game. Her and Anna Vincenzini, who had 2 receptions on 55 yards here. Remember, both of those were those tipped passes where she just made a great play. So there you go there. Lead tackler for Warner looks to be Cynthia Holmes once more, or I guess tied with Cynthia Holmes. She had 3, Vincenzini had 3, and yeah, there you go there. So those are the stats for Warner. Let's talk about Campbellsville here real quick. Marissa Rankin, 6 of 10, 21 yards, did throw 1 interception in this game. Presley Payne, though, really nice game for her. Let's talk about Marissa Rankin still. 6 attempts, 44 rushing yards, though. But Presley Payne had a real nice game as well. On 6 rushes, 43 rushing yards. Not passing it too much, Angeline Beecher, the lead receiver, on only 2 receptions, 10 yards. And their lead tackler here looks to be Presley Payne, 3 tackles and that big-time interception, as Campbellsville plays Warner a little close here. But regardless, Warner still wins 20-0 on this first day of action. All right, now moving on to day 2 here. First game of the day, Thomas versus Reinhardt. This game was on Tuesday, March 14th. So there you go there. Started at 9 a.m. For me, it started at 9 a.m. That is mountain time. And so let's go ahead and hop into this game here. Reinhardt, Ashlyn McKinley starting here at quarterback for Reinhardt as they start on offense. Unfortunately, they go 3 and out here. They had a run play that went nowhere, then a couple incomplete passes, including a nice deflection by Kiara Knight. And so 10 minutes in, they start just past midfield. Here's what happens. Alexa Wilson finds Aaliyah Wood on the seam route. She goes ahead and splits the safeties and almost gets in for the touchdown. Instead is stopped just short on the 1 in the red zone. That was a big 20-plus yard gain there. A play later, it is second down here. Wilson rolls out left and looks for a receiver, but no one's there, so she goes ahead and takes it in, walks it in for a touchdown. That's a 6-0 Thomas lead, as the extra point is no good here. Now, Reinhardt, they get the football here. They're trying to get something going, but once again, they go 3 and out. Just really good defense by Thomas here. They do attempt a couple handoffs, but those go really nowhere. Then all the passes were pretty much knocked down. Now, at this point, the stream goes out for like a quick minute, and Thomas scores in that quick minute. It makes it a 12-0 game, obviously not getting that extra point there. Now, Reinhardt, they're back on offense here, but it looks like they turn it over once more. We'll have a quick 3-and-out. Once again, stream goes out, which is just really unfortunate here. But when it comes back here, watch it just in time to see Alexa Wilson finding Kiara Knight on the drag route as she walks in for the touchdown, making it a quick 18-0 lead. This game already pretty much getting quite out of hand here. And then starting here in the second quarter, Reinhardt once more going 3-and-out, trying a couple handoffs to Tatiana Alacock there, and then also handing it off to Branham there. They pretty much go nowhere. Deshae Branham, that is. They pretty much go nowhere. And then on top of that, a Jada Reese sacks kind of kills the whole thing. That forces the 3-and-out once more. Their third or fourth 3-and-out of the game so far, as Thomas is just really sharp in this game here. And so Thomas, they get the football back there on offense. Leah Wood with a nice pitch tonight gets them on the edge of the red zone with about 9 minutes left here. Wilson then hits Burdevil on the quick hitter, who spins out of a tough tackle before getting down, this time once more on the 1. But it looks like that is actually enough to put them in the red zone here. And so there you go. A couple plays later, it's second down here. Wilson goes back in, throws a nice little fastball to Aaliyah Wood, who catches the touchdown, and that extends the lead to 24-0. Wilson would go ahead and add on to that on a slant route throw back to Aaliyah Wood. That makes it a 25-0 game. At this point, this game is over. I got a 25-point rule here. After that, I'm not going to be detailing it as much or recapping the game as much here. Later in the game, Sanaya Glover did get a nice interception there, and then Wilson finds Kiara Knight on the out route for a touchdown, and then finds Aaliyah Wood once more on the extra point. That makes it 32-0. A little bit later, Wilson would go to Nakara Brown on the drag route. That makes it a 38-0 lead, and then she would run it in. Wilson would run it in, making it a 39-0 lead, and that's what the final score would be. Thomas beating Reinhardt 39-0, shutting them out. Player of the game, in my opinion, Alexa Wilson, playing a very good football game, one of her cleaner ones. 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown in that game. Fortunately, no individual stats for this one, but they got the dub 39-0. Your player of the game once again is Wilson with those 5 touchdowns, which were on the money. So boom, there you go. They're starting off the day right for Thomas. Now moving on, Thomas stays on the field here. They play Cottey after that game. Here's how it goes down. Cottey starting on offense here. Maya Karula in at quarterback. She does take off for a scramble and a good gain on second down. Almost gets a first down, but is not quite there. On third down, she does try to throw the out route here, but it is deflected. That brings up fourth down here. And so already fourth down. Looks like they're still in their own territory. They decide to go for it here. And so here's what happens. Maya Karula feeling the pressure, forced out right by Jada Reese here. She has an open receiver in Joliet Johnson, throws it, but it is just a little short here. And so that's a turnover on downs. Thomas taking over here in great field position. And now a couple plays later, it does come down to a fourth down play here. And here's what happens. Alexa Wilson goes ahead and makes up for a tough throw that she didn't make earlier to Aaliyah Wood. This time she makes it, lofts a good pass on the post route. It looks like almost the exact same play here to Aaliyah Wood, who falls backwards into the end zone for the touchdown on a nice 20-yard-ish pass, making it a 6-0 lead. Wilson finds Giselle Jones on the extra point. That makes it 7-0. Now Cottey back on offense, trying to get something going. About 7 minutes left here in the first quarter. Maya Karula throws the out route. That goes for the first down. Also, I'm just going to throw this out there. Cottey's uniform's a little tough to see, yellow and white there, but I did my best, so if I don't exactly get the name there, I apologize, just want to put that out there. But anyways, back to the game. Karula hits Shea Measley on the check down following that. She gets maybe 5 yards. That brings up second down here, but unfortunately there is an incompletion. So now it is third down here. And on third down, Karula takes off for a nice scramble and gets close to 10 rushing yards here, but still short. It's about fourth down and 1, and Cottey once more deciding to go for it, still in their own territory here, but wanting to be aggressive, and I like it. And so here's what happens to Maya Karula. Once again, under pressure, tries to check it down, but this time they force an incompletion. Great pass breakup by Thomas. That is a turnover on downs. About 3 minutes 40 seconds left here in the first quarter when Thomas gets the football, and on the first play, Wilson finds Nakira Brown over the top, who just breaks free here. Looks like she got the corner staring into the backfield just a little bit, and Brown goes ahead and goes to the house for a 40-yard touchdown and a 13-0 lead, as the extra point is no good. Now Cottey, they're trying to get something going here, but unfortunately they go 3 and out just before the end of the first quarter. And so let's go ahead and pick up here in the second quarter. Thomas, they have the football. Once more, it does get down to us. It does come down to, to a fourth down play here. But once again, on fourth down, Wilson making plays, goes ahead and makes a great anticipatory throw here. Finds Britt Delva on a just very accurate pass down the left side. Great throw here, great timing, and then a great catch by Britt Delva to go ahead and finish this one off as well for a 40-yard touchdown. That gives them the 19-0 lead, and it stays at 19-0 as the slant route extra point is no good. But Cottey trying to respond back here after getting a nice first down play. I believe that's Angie Cruz who gets that first down play. A play later, it comes down to second down, and Amaya Karula finds, I believe it's Daniela Goodrich, deep on the sluggo route here, a say and go route, who makes a great hands catch, by the way, and then just burns the defense, uncharacteristically of course, for a big time 40+ yard touchdown, making it only a 19-6 Thomas lead here. Extra point is dropped. Now let's go back to Thomas, trying to respond back here, and they respond by Wilson throwing the hitch route to Aaliyah Wood, who goes ahead and gets them a first down. But once more, comes back down to a fourth down play here. They go ahead and do get the first down, though, as a hard count would get Cottey offsides, and that would get Thomas across the field, across the midfield, and give them a first down here. At this point, there's about 56 seconds left here, and so they're trying to get something going, and this is what happens. Wilson tries to go deep here, but the safety, I believe it's Daniela Goodrich once more, is able to go ahead and get a pretty easy interception and return it just before midfield. Probably not the greatest decision to make here, as Goodrich makes her pay there, but doesn't matter, as Cottey does unfortunately go 3 and out here. A false start on Cottey kind of throws this whole thing out of whack on this drive. Now Thomas does get the football here with a couple plays left. They do get past midfield, a necessary roughness call does get Thomas past midfield, I should say. That gives them a first down, repeating it. So with about 5 seconds left, they do attempt a double pass with Nakira Brown in the closing seconds, but it is incomplete. And so there you go. It is a 19-6 Thomas leading going into the third quarter. And here in the third quarter, here's what happens. Alexa Wilson finds Giselle Jones on the drag route, who gets a nice gain after faking the pitch, but also gets held as well. So that moves them into the end zone, also gives them a first down, obviously. Not into the end zone, moves them into the red zone. and obviously a new set of downs. Then a play later, it's second down here. Thomas scores off of Alexa Wilson, squeezing in a real accurate throw over the middle to Brittany Delva here. Just a great play by Wilson to Delva. That makes it a 25-0 lead. Now, the extra point initially is no good, but they do throw a penalty, and so Thomas gets another crack at it. And so here's what happens. Wilson goes ahead and walks it in for the extra point. That makes it 26-0. At this point, this game is basically over. Thomas would get I believe they would get a pick six here to make it a 32-0 game. Sorry, 32-6 game. But like I said, basically over. Wilson would find Kiara Knight on a nice little touchdown pass once more, making it 38-6, and that would be your final score. Thomas defeating Cottey 38-6. Player of the game, Alexa Wilson, 5 passing touchdowns, and just another clean game for them as they get their second dub of the day. Now moving on, we got Campbellsville versus Weber here. Weber being ranked number 5 according to us. Campbellsville here at 12. Here's how it goes down. Alexa Thomas on the sweep route gets about 5 yards here to start for Campbellsville. That is good enough for a first down, but unfortunately, it does come down to a third down play here where Rankin is forced to throw. Marissa Rankin is forced to throw to her check down. It's on Rojas Gibbs, and she is stopped for only a 1 yard gain. And so that brings up fourth down, and they are forced to go ahead and punt this one back to Weber. So Weber with the football here. Sam Wilson in at quarterback on second down after a drop pass. Goes ahead. Wilson goes ahead and throws an accurate pass down the post route to Caleb Burrows, who makes a couple defenders miss before outrunning them to the end zone for a 40-yard touchdown and a 6-0 lead. Extra point is no good there. Now, Campbellsville back on offense. They unfortunately go 3 and out here after a couple check down plays and a deflection. Just don't go anywhere for them. And so about 5 minutes, 20 seconds left. That is how much time is on the clock when Weber takes over on offense. And here is what happens here. I believe it is second down. Yeah, it has to be second down for them. And here's what happens. Wilson throws the slant to Hayden Roop, who pulls in a tough catch on the slant route. That puts them in the red zone. Couple plays later, it's about fourth down and 4 here. Obviously going for it. Wilson lofts it over the defender to Breasia Robinson, who catches it near the back of the end zone. That makes it a 12-0 lead, and that's where it stays here after the extra point was no good. Now, just before the quarter ends, Marissa Rankin pitches it to Presley Payne, makes a couple of spins and gets about 10 yards, gets them a first down going into the second quarter here. But unfortunately, a dropped pass here in the second quarter and a couple other plays does bring up 4th and 8 here. And so here we go. They're going for it. Marissa Rankin throws it to Rojas Gibbs on the drag route, but she is stopped just short here. That's a turnover on downs. Great defense by Weber. Now, third down here. Sam Wilson throws it to Breasia Robinson on the drag route. She goes ahead and gets them a first down in the red zone. But once again, in the red zone, it comes down to a fourth down play. This time it's 4th and 5 here. Wilson tries to throw it, but Hannah Love gets a hand on it, deflects it, / tips it, and that forces a turnover on downs here as Campbellsville gets the ball back. And here's what happens. 2nd and 4 here. Rankin hits Payne on the drag route, who outruns some defenders and goes ahead and picks up the nice first down on an 8 or 10 yard play. A play later, it is second down here. Marissa Rankin throws the football, but just doesn't see Cameron Lane here at safety. who just simply steps in front of this deep pass, gets the easy interception, and then returns it past midfield here. Just not the greatest vision by Rankin there, and a good opportunity by Cameron Lane to go ahead and pick that off. All right, now 3 minutes left here in the first half. Weber trying to continue to add on to their lead, and they do that, or attempt to do that still, by Wilson finding Emma Blanco on the wheel route, who gets a nice 10-yard gain and a first down in the red zone here. Now the 2-minute warning would hit before they would run their red zone plays, but does come down to second down here. They go ahead and direct snap it to Jasmine Henry, who makes a player miss before dashing towards the left side into the end zone for a 10-yard rushing touchdown. That makes it an 18-0 lead here, and that's when Weber decides to go for two. And they go ahead and run it here. Wilson lofts it up the seam, and it is good to a receiver. That makes it a 20-0 game. Now, Campbellsville, they would get a chance with about 1:06 to potentially put something on the board before halftime. Here's what happens. They go ahead and dump it off to Payne. That's good for a first down. Play later, it's second down. Rankin pitches it to Presley Payne, who goes ahead and gets the first down again on a nice 10-yard rush. Following that play, Marissa Rankin goes deep and finds Alexis Thomas on the right corner, who just makes a great catch for 20-plus yards and actually almost scores, but is pulled just a little short here on the 3. They are in the red zone, though, thanks to a great play by Alexis Thomas. Now, about 3 seconds left here, probably one play left. They go ahead and direct snap it to Presley Payne, but Emma Blanco makes a great flag pull to end that half and prevent a touchdown, most importantly. And so going into the third quarter, Weber actually gets the ball back, which really emphasizes how big it was for them to get that stop there. And so this is a good chance to pretty much put this thing away. And here is what happens. Wilson throws it to Kayla Burrows, who makes a player miss, and then at this point it's a foot race to the end zone, but she's eventually tracked down by Marissa Rankin. Still though, this is a 30-plus yard play that puts them in the red zone just like that. Play later, it is second down. Here's what happens. Sam Wilson walks it right up the middle, scrambles right up the middle, making it a 26-0 game on that 7-yard scramble. And then on the extra point, Wilson completes the pass near the front right pylon. I believe that's the Hayden Roop. That makes it a 27-0 game, and this game is over. Weber beating Campbellsville 27-0. My opinion, player of the game has to be Sam Wilson. 3 passing touchdowns in this game. Sam Wilson. 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Do got some stats here. Wilson went 12 of 17, 158 yards and those 2 touchdowns there. Ciara Zeno did get in 3 of 5 for 14 yards. And then on the ground, Sam Wilson, 3 scrambles, 3 rushing attempts, 23 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Jasmine Henry adds on another rushing touchdown and 10 yards. Ciara Zeno with 13 rushing yards on 5 rushing attempts. Now, receiving-wise, Kayla Burrows led all receivers, 4 receptions, 104 receiving yards, and a receiving touchdown. Breasia Robinson would have the other receiving touchdown, also had 14 receiving yards. And then your second leading receiver was Emma Blanco, 3 receptions and 21 receiving yards. Love seeing that. On defense here, Cameron Lane was pretty big. 2 tackles here and an interception. Jasmine Henry also had 3 tackles. I believe that actually, I want to say that led the team. So there you go there. Now, talking Campbellsville real quick here. Marissa Rankin, 10 of 15, 69 passing yards. Fortunately, 1 interception there. Still had a pretty solid game for the most part. But it was Presley Payne here on 7 attempts, rushing attempts, and went for 71 rushing yards. That was pretty big there. As far as receiving goes, Alexis Thomas, 34 receiving yards on that 1 catch there. And then right behind her, Presley Payne, 5 receptions, 26 receiving yards. Looking like Christian McCaffrey out here, that Presley Payne. But let's go ahead and move on to the defense here, where J.C. Harper, 8 tackles, which is pretty big time there. Obviously, love to see that. But still, though, Weber comes away with a 27-0 dub over Campbellsville. Now let's go ahead and hop into this next game, though. We got number 4 Warner versus number 13 Reinhardt here. Here's how it gets going. It gets going with fireworks. That's what happens as a big splash play. Madison Tingen finding Cynthia Homs on a big time game would go ahead and get them in the red zone, but it doesn't end there. On the next play, Tingen goes ahead and finds Andrea Castillo for the touchdown. That makes it a 6-0 game here. And she's also good on the extra point. This time, Tingen finding Amiri Logan, making it a quick 7-0 game. Now, Reinhardt rolling with Ashlyn McKinley at quarterback here. It does come down to a 4th and 1 situation. Here's what happens. They go ahead and go for it. And here's how it all goes down. McKinley forced to throw it under pressure, and this one is deflected. That's a pretty easy turnover on downs. And so just like that, I probably would have punted it here if I was Reinhardt. But just like that, Warner, they start in the red zone with 3 minutes 40 seconds left. And here's what happens. Amiri Logan is just left wide open down the left side and scores a pretty nice 15-yard touchdown. Tingen finding her. And then Tingen once more staying hot here. Finds Andrea Castillo, who makes it a 14-0 game just like that. Now, 3 minutes, 19 seconds. Reinhardt back on offense trying to get something going. And here's what happens. McKinley in here goes ahead and lofts one up to Victoria Salmon, who makes a great catch and gets them a first down here. But a couple plays later, it's 3rd down here. McKinley attempts to pass over the middle, but there's just a little bit too much air here. If she put it more on a rope, it probably would have been complete, but there's too much air here, and Amiri Logan goes ahead and makes an easy interception and returns it just past midfield. Now, let's go ahead and go into the second quarter here. That's where we pick up with this Warner offense here. Tingen staying aggressive. Throws it up to Anna Vincenzini here on 2nd down the left sideline, and she makes an excellent catch for about 20 yards. That puts them in the red zone. But a couple plays later, unfortunately, it does come down to 4th down here. Madison Tingen tries to throw this football to one of her receivers. It is overshot, just a little bit overthrown, and so that is actually a turnover on downs. Now, Reinhardt trying to get something going, but unfortunately it's just not working out as they go 3 and out here, running all run plays here. Looks like all handoffs to Tatiana Alacock that just really don't go anywhere. And so they go 3 and out, they punt it. Warner, they do get the football, and here's what happens. 3rd down once more. Madison Tingen once more finds a wide open Anna Vincenzini for a 20 plus yard gain, who I believe completes the catch, but is pulled down, and so that is a holding penalty tagged on against Reinhardt, and so that's a 1st down in the red zone here, but they are moved up a little bit here. Following that, Jenna Marrero is stopped short on the direct snap. It's basically 2nd and inches. She almost got in. Doesn't matter as they run the same play, and Marrero punches it in, making it a 20-0 lead. Tingen makes it a 21-0 lead by finding Vincenzini on the slant. So there you go, 21-0 lead here. And then things just don't get better for Reinhardt. It does come down to a 4th down play here after a couple dropped passes here. And they go ahead and hand it off, and it is just stopped short by Madeline Portwood here. A lot of run plays by Reinhardt. And so that forces a turnover on downs. And just like that, once more, Warner, they start in the red zone. But a couple plays later, it does come down to 4th down here. Madison Tingen, she tries to go over the middle, but this one is deflected by a Reinhardt defender. That is another turnover on downs. But it doesn't matter. Things are really exciting right now. Reinhardt, once again, they go 4 and out here. Just not a lot of offense going in, so that's a turnover on downs. There's about 10 seconds left. Warner is in the red zone because they did go for it on 4th down, even though that would have given Warner, red zone positioning. And so here we go. They go ahead and complete the double pass here. About 15 yards out, here's what happens. Marrero finds a wide open Trinity Kieran in the end zone. That makes it a 27-0 lead. This one is basically over. I'm just going to talk about all the scoring that would happen after that, the rest of this game. Madison Tingen finds Anna Vincentini on a touchdown, makes it 33-0, extra point no good. Cynthia Holmes then gets a big-time pick six, makes it 39-0. Once again, extra point is no good. Following that, Victoria Salmon makes a nice catch before pitching it to Deshae Branham, who gets Reinhardt on the board. That makes it 39-6. But Andrea Rodriguez, now in a quarterback, finds Cynthia Holmes, who burns the defense for a 50-plus yard touchdown reception. Add on an extra point, that makes it 46-6. Then here in the fourth quarter, Shea Brooks in for a quarterback for Warner finds Michaela Michael on the corner throw, making it 52-6, and that would be your final score. Warner defeating Reinhardt 52-6. My opinion, player of the game has to be Madison Tingen here. I believe, if I am counting this right, she had 3 passing touchdowns here, 2 of them in the first quarter, and then she would go ahead and find another one here in the third quarter. I mean, honestly, this was just Warner going off in general. A lot of players got in. I mean, they were like 4 or 5 quarterbacks in. Not only did their backups get in, but their backups got in, like 3rd, 4th, 5th stringers. And so just a lot of love to go around for Warner. Everyone got in. A lot of different players got to score. You obviously got to love that if you are them. But Madison Tingen, player of the game, 3 passing touchdowns, really sharp. And once again, Warner defeats Reinhardt in a dominating 52-6 win. Now let's go ahead and move on here. We got number 9 Cottey versus number 5 Weber here. Here's how it goes down. Weber starting on offense here. Sam Wilson goes ahead and finds Hayden Whoop on the slant. That gets them a first down. But unfortunately, a couple plays later, it is 4th down here. Here's what happens. Wilson rolls out left before finding Denise Garcia over the middle and for a first down past midfield. They also tag on a couple yards because of holding that they call on Cottey. And so that would actually put them in the red zone with a fresh set of downs. And then here's what happens. A lot of patience by Wilson on this play, who eventually comes back over the middle to a receiver, Breasia Robinson, who makes the touchdown catch on a nice throw here, making it 6-0. And then once more here, interesting enough, it looks like they're going for 2 here, and Wilson goes back to Robinson, who makes a nice catch in the back of the end zone. All hands on this one, making it 8-0, not a 7-0 lead, but an 8-0 lead. And so here we go. Cottey back on offense, or starting, I guess, on offense. They haven't been on offense yet this game. Maya Kurula in at quarterback, throws it on the run. I believe that is incomplete. That brings up 2nd down here, where Kurula throws the ball, but it looks like it slips through her receiver's hands and into the hands of Kayla Burrows, who returns this to the house for a pick 6. Nice little 20-ish yard pick 6. They do not get the extra point, so it stays at 14-0. Now, Cottey and Kurula, here's what happens. They're trying to respond back. Kurula on the scramble gets a first down to start this drive. A play later here, the next play, Kurula finds Jolia Johnson on the out route, who gets them a first down after a holding penalty was also thrown on Weber. That is a first down, this time past midfield. But unfortunately comes down to 4th down here. They got to convert. Here's what happens. Kurula scrambles, reaches for the first down. It looks like she might be able to get it, where she's going to be really close to getting it, but they call her down just a little bit short. And so that is a pretty tough turnover on downs here. And trying to take advantage of that, here's what happens. Wilson goes ahead and hits Caleb Burrows on the quick hitter, who makes a nice move before running down the sideline and is eventually caught up from behind. That is a huge 20-plus yard play here, just about, that makes it a first down in the red zone. That's how big that play is. Now, 2 plays later, it's third down here. Wilson forced out right, but no worries. She goes ahead and throws a dot to Caleb Burrows for the touchdown and to extend their lead to 20-0 as the extra point is no good. Now, Cottey, to end the quarter, go ahead and get a first down. Karula finding Murdoch, who gets that first down here. And so with a fresh set of downs, that's where Cottey is to start the second quarter. And so here we go. Second down, Karula scrambles, but a penalty is thrown on Weber for holding, which moves Cottey up and also gets them the first down past midfield here. A false start would actually get them a couple more yards, but unfortunately, once more, it comes down to a 4th and 5 situation after a couple plays. Here's what happens. Karula checks down to Kenzie Murdoch, who reaches out for the first down, but once again is stopped short the second time, which is interesting this game, where Cottey is maybe less than a yard short on a conversion here on the edge of the red zone. So that's just really tough for them. But Weber looking to take advantage. They go ahead and step in here. It is about 3rd and 1, 2 plays in, and Wilson throws the quick hitter to Breasia Robinson, who gets them a first down past midfield. Play later, it's second down here. Wilson goes ahead and scrambles for the first down. That gives them a first down in the red zone. And then the play right after that, Wilson goes deep down the left side to Caitlin Sigmundy for a 20-yard receiving touchdown, making it a 26-0 lead. And then on the extra point, I believe they go for 2 here. Wilson finds Caleb Burrows on the 2-point conversion, making it 28-0, just like that. And just like that, this game is pretty much over here. A couple more scores would happen. Wilson throwing it over the top to Denise Garcia for a 15-plus yard touchdown, making it 34-0. A direct snap to Ciara Zeno makes it a 40-0 game later on. Plus the extra point makes it 41-0, which is the final score. Weber defeats Cottey 41-0 here. I think the obvious player of the game has to go to Kayla Burrows. She had that pick 6 and a receiving touchdown. I believe also an extra point catch as well to go ahead and deliver this big time dub for Weber. Just a big game from her in this one, a dominant game from her in this one. Now moving on in the last game here, at least for the day on March 14th, was Campbellsville versus Reinhardt. Campbellsville obviously being the host right now at 12. Reinhardt ranked at 13 currently. Obviously, this will affect our power rankings, but let's go ahead and hop into the football game here. And Reinhardt making a switch at quarterback, which would be permanent for the rest of this flag football frenzy. They go ahead and start Kalia Wimbush here. And so here's how it goes down on second down. Tatiana Alacock, on second down, Kalia Wimbush throws the short pass and goes ahead and gets the first down, extending this drive. But unfortunately, it does come down to third down here. They got to convert. Here's what happens. Wimbush throws it to Victoria Salmon, who makes a great catch for a solid gain, but she does have her flag pulled just short, and so they got to punt it. Now, about 7 minutes left here in the first quarter. Campbellsville also making a change here at quarterback, starting Yaneli Quiros here as she earns the start. And here's what happens. Quiros finds Thomas on the slant to get them 5 yards and a first down. That puts them just past midfield. Couple plays later, Yaneli Quiros pitches it to Presley Payne, who puts a move on someone before spinning out of another tackle, but she is held down. That is obviously a penalty on Reinhardt holding on them, and so that gives Campbellsville a first down in the red zone. And in the red zone, it comes down to third down here. Well, I should preface this and say personal foul was thrown on, I believe, Reinhardt. It had to have been thrown on Reinhardt. And so that makes it half the distance to the goal line. And so they repeat third down. So second third down try here. Third and inches. Here's what happens. They go ahead and call designed quarterback run to Quiros. She goes ahead and punches it in, taking it a 6-0 lead. Then a direct snap to Presley Payne on the extra point makes it a 7-0 lead. So boom, there you go. Minute 35 seconds left here. In the first quarter, Reinhardt does get the football. They run an end around to Deshae Branham. She gets a good 5-yard gain and a first down. Following that, Kalia Wimbush goes over the middle to Nina Johnson, who makes an excellent catch in traffic. Just a very physical catch here. A good one before breaking loose for a 50-plus yard play to the house for a touchdown, making it a 7-6 game here, pending the extra point here. Here's what happens. Wimbush under pressure by NAIA Showers throws it up into the end zone, but this one is deflected, and so for now Campbellsville 7-6 lead going into the second quarter. And in the second quarter, it is second down here. Quiros on the throw finds Alexis Thomas on the hitch route, who makes a great hands catch before getting the first down on a solid gain here. Following that, though, it's 3rd and 4 here, and Quiros on the option route cuts up field, or sorry, not the option route, option play, cuts up field, but is stopped just short. How short? 4th and 1 short. And so here's what happens. They are going for it. They snap the ball, but unfortunately, Quiros mishandles this one, drops it. That is a tough turnover on downs. And so about 9 minutes left here. It's 2nd and 5 for Reinhardt. They go ahead and hand it off to Tatiana Alcock, who gets the first down, which puts them in the red zone here. But unfortunately, Reinhardt is just not quite able to get anything going. They do run an end around to Salmon. That stops the line. Following that, Wimbush throws the corner out. This one is actually almost intercepted by Presley Payne, but she drops it, so it's 3rd and 20 here. Wimbush then throws it deep to Deshae Branham, but once again, Presley Payne is there. That makes it 4th and 20 here, and on that down, Wimbush throws it up, but it is deflected here, and so that is a turnover on downs. It's okay, though, as Campbellsville would go 3 and out here. 2 really good plays by Carson Paget. I just want to say Carson Paget on 2nd and 25, pressuring Quiros, would go ahead and get her short here. I think sack her short. And then she would also, Carson Paget, will get a deflection on 3rd and 25, which would obviously force a punt here. And so here we go, Reinhardt with the ball back. Let's go ahead and fast forward down to a 4th and 1 situation. Here's what happens. Kalia Wimbush keeps it and goes down the left side, getting the first down and putting Reinhardt in the red zone. A play later, it is 2nd down here. Kalia Wimbush throws it deep to Deshae Branham on the stop and go Stogo route, who goes ahead and gives Reinhardt the 12-7 lead on a nice 20-ish yard reception there. Now on the extra point, Wimbush does try to scramble for it, but NAIA Showers does get her flag. And so that's how this first half would end. Reinhardt going into the second half with a 12-7 lead. Campbellsville getting the ball to start, though. And so here's what happens. They go ahead and get a first down on an end around play to JC Harper. But a couple plays later, it is 3rd and 17 here. They try to throw it, and Carson Paget once again gets another deflection at the line of scrimmage. That ends this drive for Campbellsville as they are forced to punt it. Now, it is 3rd down and about 1 after the PI, pass interference, is thrown on Campbellsville here. And so 3rd and 1, Kalaya Wimbush tries to go over the middle, but Alexis Thomas reads this one and intercepts this and gets Campbellsville solid yardage here just before midfield, killing that Reinhardt drive and keeping them in it. And so here's what happens. Kiros hits JC Harper on the out route. That gets them about 10 yards and a first down, this time past midfield. A couple plays later, though, it is 3rd down, and they tried to throw it, but there is some sort of miscommunication between the quarterback and receiver, so it is incomplete, and they are once again forced to punt it after getting the first down. Now, right before the 4th quarter here, Reinhardt would get the first down by checking it down to Tatiana Alacock here, who then reverse fields basically and go ahead and get that first down. And so here we go, 4th quarter here. It is 3rd down. Reinhardt with the football. They go ahead and throw the swing route to Deshae Branham. She is brought down just short, and so that makes it 4th down, where they decide to go for it. And it looks to be a double pass here as Nina Johnson gets the football and throws it deep, but this ball is out of bounds, and so that is a turnover on downs here. Things don't get much better for Campbellsville as they basically go for and out on 4th and 12. Yuneli Quiros tries to throw it to Beecher, but I guess there is another miscommunication here. Maybe she's running the wrong route, and so that ends up being incomplete. Now, let's go ahead and fast forward a couple plays here. It is 4th and 3 for Reinhardt. They decide to go for it, and it is a Kalaya Wimbush designed run. It looks to be stopped at the line by JC Harper, but a penalty is thrown, which is a holding call on Campbellsville, which goes ahead and gives Reinhardt a first down past midfield. A very tough play to have here for Campbellsville. And so a couple plays later, it is 4th down and 10. Campbellsville calls a timeout before this play, about 3 minutes 49 seconds left. Here's what happens. A conversion here for Reinhardt would be pretty big, but a stop for Campbellsville would equally be as big of a deal. Now, Kalaya Wimbush goes ahead and drops back. She decides to take a shot to Nina Johnson, but it is well covered and overthrown here. Maybe getting a little bit too greedy on this play instead of getting the first down. And so that is a turnover on downs. And so here we go, Campbellsville looking to go to work with 3 minutes 30 seconds left in this game, just before midfield, and it doesn't start off well as a low snap hits the ground. That brings up 2nd down here, and on 2nd down, Quiros takes off left, spins out of a tackle, gets about 10 yards. That makes it a more manageable 3rd and 5 here. And on 3rd and 5, Quiros goes up and throws it to Beecher, but this one is dropped again. That makes it 4th and 5 here as the 2-minute warning hits here. And then once more, they're going for it here on 4th and 5, but it just doesn't end well. A bad snap just kills this play. That is a turnover on downs. Just too many mistakes for Campbellsville in this one, as Reinhardt gets the ball looking to run it out and hopefully get a first down to do that. But minute 58 seconds left. They hand it off to Tatiana Alacock. She gets about 5 yards or so. 2nd down. They go ahead and hand it off to Carson Paget. She is stopped for a loss by Anaya Showers. That brings up 3rd and 6 here. Timeout is called at a minute 25 seconds left here. And so 3rd and 6, following that timeout, Kalaya Wimbush throws it deep to Nina Johnson, but Hannah Love is there and make sure that is incomplete. That brings up 4th and 6 here, where they go ahead and hand it off to Deshae Branham, who tries running around, but is eventually corralled by this Campbellsville defense and is stopped for a loss. That's a turnover on downs and a huge stop for Campbellsville, who has a minute 16 seconds left just before midfield here. And so here's what happens. Yuneli Quiros finds Alexis Thomas wide open down the right side, who gets a huge 30-plus yard reception, but a penalty is also thrown on Reinhardt, which will add on a couple more yards. They are now in the red zone because of that play. And so following that, they're in the red zone. They have 4 plays here. Basically, here's what happens. Kiros tries throwing it to Beecher, but it looks like it's another miscommunication here. Maybe the wrong route or something. But regardless, it is incomplete, and it's second down with 57 seconds left. The clock stopped there. Following that, Kiros throws it up to Rankin here, it looks like. And it looks to be on the money, but is deflected. But then they go ahead and throw a PI here on Reinhardt here, saying the defender got a little bit too handsy. And so they replay second down half the distance to the goal line. It's about 50 seconds left. And so second down, they go ahead and throw it. It's a good pass breakup by Reinhardt here, and so that goes ahead and forces 3rd and 8 with about 45 seconds left. At this point, they just got to get a score here. That's really what it comes down here. They're gonna have plenty of time, and so here we go. 3rd and 8. Kiros passes it to Rojas Gibbs on the run, but she drops it, and so that brings up 4th and 8 here. Just a lot of mistakes for Campbellsville, but they're still in it. A score would basically win them the game. And so here we go, 4th and 8. Kiros throws it to the right pylon, but it is broken up by Tatiana Alacock. But before you can celebrate, a penalty, another one, is thrown on Reinhardt, and so that actually makes it a 1st down and 5 with another fresh set of downs, and this time they're still on the 5. And so here we go. They go ahead and call a toss play here. Carson Paget gets a huge tackle for loss here, and so that brings up 2nd down as the clock begins to tick down. Kiros throws it up to Angeline Beecher in 1-on-1, and it looks like she catches it in the back of the end zone. The refs signal a touchdown, but as she is falling out of bounds, the ball does pop out, and just like that, the refs change in a matter of seconds. They're calling from touchdown, signaling now incompletion here. They do take some time to talk about this one, as it did look like Angeline Beecher had the touchdown on this 1-on-1 catch here, but she just doesn't complete the process of the catch. The announcers are a little dumbfounded here, as, you clearly see her make the catch and then take 2 steps before the ball does kind of pop out at the end here. And so they replay this a couple of times. This is something that I do really admire about this Campbellsville broadcast. They had replays, which were really cool, and in this situation, replay was a pretty big deal here. I don't think the refs had access to it, but for the viewers, including myself, we had access to it, and so we were able to witness this play happen a couple of times over. And so it looks like it is going to be called incomplete here. Like I said, the refs were calling it a touchdown. Both of their hands were up in the air, and then once they saw the ball came out, they immediately changed it to incomplete. And so there you go there. I want to say that is Deshae Branham, who made an excellent incompletion. They're forced an excellent incompletion, just getting a hand in there and looks like almost snapping her arm, but just really just forcing that one out, ripping it out of there at the last second. And so here we go, 3rd down after that incompletion here. She goes ahead and throws it to Kiros, throws it to Rankin, but a Reinhardt defender does step in front of it and drops a would-be interception that would seal this game. And as fate would have it, there is 1 second left here. 4th down. This will be the last game. They go ahead and call a fade route here. They run it. Kiros throws it up to Beecher. She is open, but unfortunately she drops it here. Just a really tough game for her, and that will be game as Reinhardt earns their first win in program history with a 12-7 win here in Kentucky. Player of the game, in my opinion, has to go to Deshae Branham. 1 receiving touchdown, and then that pass breakup at the end was key to deliver Reinhardt their first win in program history. Speaking of Reinhardt, let's go ahead and talk stats here. Kalia Wimbush in her first start, really good game here. 8 of 19, 98 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Did throw that 1 interception though, but doesn't matter. Had a good game. Also added on 8 rushing yards. Then on the ground, Deshae Branham 9 rushes, 34 yards. Tatiana Alacock 7 rushes, 13 yards. As far as receiving goes, it looks like Nina Johnson was the lead receiver on that big time 60-yard touchdown. There, 1 reception, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Deshae Branham also 3 receptions, 20 yards, and a receiving touchdown, like I said. And then on defense here, Carson Paget being clutch. Honestly, if it wasn't for Brandon making that forcing that incompletion at the end, I would probably have given this to Carson Paget, who made so many big plays here. Got a lot of tackles and tips at the line that really saved this Reinhardt team at the end of the day. But 4 tackles leading the team there. 3 tackles by Tatiana Alacock. So those are the stats for Reinhardt, who just played a great game and really earned this win when it came down to it. Then you got Campbellsville here. 8 of 27 from Yuneli Quiros. Not the most efficient here. You did have a number of drops here, so it wasn't completely her fault. And some miscommunications, which I don't think were her fault there. 81 receiving yards. On the ground here, Presley Payne, 13 rushing yards. Yuneli Quiros also added on 32 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. And then as far as receiving goes, just a lot of struggles here. Itzan Rojas Gibbs was their lead receiver with 129-yard reception. The next closest, Alexis Thomas was their lead receiver with 4 receptions, 31 yards. And then Itzan Rojas Gibbs only had those 29 yards here. I hate to say it, but Angeline Beecher was targeted 7 times, did not bring in a single reception. It looked like she might have brought in the game winner, but unfortunately, it was just not her day here. Hoping to see her bounce back, obviously. Now on defense, Marissa Rankin, 5 tackles. That led the team right next to Hannah Love with 4 tackles as they came up just short here. Campbellsville just losing a heartbreaker at home. Oh boy, they thought it was a touchdown, and I thought it was a touchdown too. And I feel like they made a good argument for it to be a touchdown there. She did initially catch the ball. She had those 2 steps, but I think the biggest thing that you got to look at here is that you got to finish the process of the catch. You can't let it pop out. You can't leave it up to the refs there. And unfortunately, that is what they did, or that's what happened in that one play, and that's how it went down. And so there you go there. A very dramatic end to that second day of football there on March 14th. Let's go ahead and hop into March 15th and all the games that happened. All right, now let's go ahead talk about the March 15th games here, starting with Cottey versus Reinhardt here. This was a very interesting game here for, I guess, for both teams. So Cottey did not have Daniela Goodridge. She is one of their starting receivers, DBs. I don't know what happened. Maybe she overslept, but this game was happening at 11:30 a.m. my time, so that's like 1:30 third time or something like that. I don't know. Either way, she was not available. Just wasn't there. So there you go. But let's go ahead and hop into this game here. First quarter, honestly, nothing really happens. Both teams pretty much just took turns going 3 and out, punting it, I think it's kind of funny. Both of them actually started their first drives with a first down before punting it or before it being a turnover on downs. And so that's how the first quarter went. Now in the second quarter, let's go ahead and start here. Reinhardt just past midfield here. Kalia Wimbush getting the start. Finds Nina Johnson, who makes a physical catcher. over like 2 defenders. Just a very tough catch here, withstands the hit, goes ahead and then slips a defender after that and basically walks into the end zone on a 30-plus yard post route touchdown, taking the 6-0 lead for Reinhardt. Extra point would be incomplete. And so that was absolutely huge there for Reinhardt to get on the board. Great play by Nina Johnson, just making a play on the ball and then going and scoring. So there you go. Now 11 minutes, 49 seconds left here in the second quarter. Cottey, they get the football here. Maya Karula finds Angie Cruz on the drag route. That's good for about 6 or so yards. That brings up 2nd in inches here. Incompletion. That then brings up 3rd in inches here. And so here's what happens. Maya Karula drops back, throws it deep to Carry-On Cloyd, who burns her defender in 1v1 and makes an excellent catch here. Almost scores, but is caught up to. This goes for about 30-plus yards and a first down past midfield. Plus, they are in the red zone on this excellent play by Cloyd. But on the same play, I think Amaya Karula must have been rolled up on, or something must have happened. You didn't quite see it because it happened out of frame as the play was going on. But she is shaken up. It looks like maybe it's an ankle injury or something like that. And so the backup quarterback, Jennifer Haberstock, comes in to try and finish the job here for Cottey in the red zone. And so here's what happens. Goes ahead and throws it out to Shamie Sleece on that route. That's good for about 3 or 4 yards. That brings up 2nd down here, where Haberstock has an open receiver downfield, but just puts a little bit too much air on this one. If she put it on a line drive, it probably would have been a touchdown. And so that allows Nina Johnson to get a pretty easy pass deflection. Then Amaya Karula actually goes back in here on the 3rd down here, but you could tell she is a little shaken up and still a little bit hurt here, as under pressure tries to run around and throw it, but it's just not an accurate pass here, and so that makes it incomplete here. And so it's 4th down here. Once again, Amaya Karula, she tries to throw the fade route to her receiver. Couldn't see what receiver was running it, but the receiver kind of stops running. Maybe there is some sort of miscommunication like halfway through the route, and so unfortunately, this one is just barely incomplete. If the receiver ran this one all the way through, it would have been on the money, and it would have obviously been on the receiver to make it. But unfortunately, Cottey, just couldn't quite get it done. So, boom, there you go there. Now, the rest of this quarter, not too much more else would happen here. Not a whole ton of fireworks. I think the biggest thing would actually happen with about 38 seconds left in this half, where Kalia Wimbush goes deep and Deshae Branham makes a physical catch on the post route here, a lot like Nina Johnson on that first scoring drive, and gets a first down near midfield on the 20-plus yard gain. Following that, Wimbush goes over the middle, and this one is almost intercepted, but Carson Padgett just makes an excellent catch on the tip in traffic and holds on to this bad boy to go ahead and move them past midfield on another first down play of about 20-plus yards. And then on the last play here, Kalia Wimbush goes deep, trying to put one into the end zone, but this one's knocked down by a Cottey defender, and so it's 6-0 going into the second half here. Now in the second half, Cottey gets the ball, and they are going with Jennifer Haberstock, the senior out of Nevada, at quarterback here. But it also looks like Amaya Karula is getting in as a running back or receiver, as they are a little bit short-handed, like I said. And so just interesting stuff going on. But here's how it goes down. 3rd down, Haberstock throws the out route to Joliet Johnson, who catches it and gets the first down. A couple plays later, though, it is 3rd down here. Jennifer Haberstock tries to go deep, but is just very underthrown, and so it's incomplete, and they have to punt it. And so Reinhardt gets the ball with 8:40 left in the 3rd quarter, and here's what happens. Wimbush goes over the middle and finds Caroline Small, who almost gets them the first down here. Brings up a couple play later, It's third down here. Wimbush tries to throw it deep, but it is intercepted by Seamus Lee, who gets Cottey past midfield to start here. So in a good position here. Haberstock still in at quarterback for Cottey. She goes ahead and throws the curl. That gets a nice 10-yard gain or so. That brings up 2nd and 10. On 2nd and 10, Haberstock evades the pressure, then scrambles about 4 yards, bringing up 3rd and 6. But on 3rd down, it is an incompletion on a low throw, so that brings up 4th and 6. And on 4th and 6, Haberstock tries to throw the late dig route to Joliet Johnson, but it is just a little bit too high. So unfortunately, despite the turnover, Cottey has to go 3 and out. Now, Reinhardt trying to get on the board, extend the lead here. Wimbush goes and throws it to Nina Johnson, who high points the post route here and gets them another first down past midfield for about 20 yards. Them really working the middle of these two safeties in this cover too. But a couple plays later, it's 4th down. They decide to go for it. Wimbush dials one up deep up the seam, but I don't think the receiver was expecting it. She just doesn't reach the ball here, doesn't run it all the way through, and so that's a turnover on downs. Now, let's go ahead and hop into the 4th quarter here. Cottey with the football, they have to get going and get on the board. And so here's what happens. They go ahead and get a first down just before midfield. That's where they start at the start of the 4th quarter. A couple plays later though, 3rd down and 1. Haberstock on the keeper gets 5 yards. That's a first down past midfield. Again, 3rd and 3 here. A couple plays in. Haberstock then finds Kenzie Murdoch, who goes ahead and gets the first down. That's huge, putting them in the red zone with about 10 yards or so to go, but in the red zone regardless, with a chance to tie it up. So here's what happens. Haberstock hits a quick out route, but they are stopped for a minimal gain. That's 2nd and 9. Following that, there's a huge sack by Adriana Brustmeyer. That brings up 3rd and 15 here, moving Cottey back. And on 3rd down, she tries to throw it to Destiny Martinez, but this one's overthrown. That brings up 4th down. And on 4th down, Haberstock feels a little bit of the pressure, aims for Joliet Johnson here over the middle, I believe, but the defender is all over it and makes that an incompletion. That becomes a turnover on downs. Now, Reinhardt, they go ahead and they do get a first down here by throwing it to Caroline Small and whatnot, but following that, a couple miscommunications and stops on the runs brings up a 4th and 6 where they do punt it back here. And so Cottey gets the ball with about 2 minutes left here in this game. Here's what happens. Karula is now back in at quarterback for this last drive. Tries throwing it to Seamus Lee, but it's almost intercepted. Brings up 2nd down. On 2nd down, they go ahead and throw a penalty on Cottey for a illegal shift. That pushes them back. All right, but Karula gets some of that back by taking off on a scramble. She gets the first down and more. Gets about almost 35 yards here. Just a huge play here, running up the middle and then turning towards the left sideline and just getting a first down across midfield. That's huge. It's 1st and 4. Then they go ahead and put Haberstock back in, which is interesting at quarterback. But she's in so that she can hand it off to Karula, who goes ahead and gets about 5 yards and puts them in the red zone here. Now, here's the situation. They're in the red zone, but there's no Goodrich. Angie Cruz sustained an injury earlier on in this game, and so she's out as well. So you're out 2 of your top receivers, and so you got to figure out a way to get it done here. And so here's what happens. Karula on first down smartly throws to the receiver, who is definitely getting held, and so that pulls a PI penalty for Cottey, and so that's a repeat of first down, but now it's like 1st and 15. First down 15, it's an incompletion. That brings up 2nd and 15. Following that, Karula goes deep to Seamus Lee. It looks like it's about to be complete, but Nina Johnson just makes an excellent pass deflection. That brings up 3rd down. About 50 seconds left, and on that down, Karula scrambles just to get something. She gets about 5 or so yards. That brings up 4th and 10 here. on 4th and 10, Reinhardt, they go ahead and bring the pressure, and Karula, with nowhere to go, is forced to throw the drag route. That is easily bat down, and just like that, Reinhardt, with their second win in program history, beats Cottey 6-0, and player of the game absolutely has to be Nina Johnson with that one receiving touchdown there. That was absolutely big time to go ahead and get Reinhardt on the board and, get them this win. I mean, this was a very hard-fought game here. Cottey, though, I mean, they were definitely shorthanded without Angie Cruz, without Daniela Goodrich. That definitely affected the game. I feel like if they had them, maybe they would have had a better chance of winning. Plus, obviously, the injury to Karula is concerning as well, as she just wasn't quite the same. And you could tell she just wasn't quite able to make some of the plays she normally makes, at least on a consistent basis. But it is what it is. That's how it goes. Reinhardt playing a really good, complete game here. Probably left a couple points on the board, but hey, a win is a win as they beat Cottey once again 6-0. Now let's go ahead and talk Campbellsville versus Warner here. Starting in the first. Warner starting with the football here, get a pair of first downs to start their drive. Tingen finding Trinity Kieran on the check down for a nice gain. And then once again here, they get a first down because a penalty is thrown against Campbellsville. So that's a first down across midfield to get them started. Now, a couple plays in, it's 4th and 1 here on the edge of the red zone. They go ahead and get it by a direct snap to Jenna Marrero. That gives them the first down in the red zone. And here we go, new set of downs. But unfortunately, a couple plays in, you have some miscommunications. You have a ball that is thrown into double coverage, which is batted away. And then you just have really good defense by Campbellsville on one that forces a 4th down situation here in the red zone. And so here's what happens. Tingen throws it up to Holmes, but this one is deflected. But Holmes does catch it though. But unfortunately, she falls down just outside of the end zone, maybe a yard or an inch short here. And so just like that, that is a turnover on downs. Now, Campbellsville, they get the ball, 4 minutes, 30 seconds left. Let's go ahead and go to the second down play here. Rankin tries to rifle one over the middle, but Amiri Logan reads this play beautifully and makes a huge pick six, making it a 6-0 lead. And then Tingen goes ahead and throws that slant to Anna Vincenzini for the conversion, making it 7-0. Now, Campbellsville trying to get back on track here. They go ahead and get a first down here by Rankin pitching it to Presley Payne, who falls forward for that first down here. But it's second down, I want to say here. And Rankin rolls out left, but commits a cardinal sin and tries to throw across her body here, which is the wrong direction to be throwing. And Anna Vincenzini makes her pay for that with a huge interception that she goes ahead and gets there. And so that's where this Warner offense would start in the second quarter. Second down here in the second quarter, Tingen throws the corner out to Holmes, who makes a beautiful one-handed catch, a highlight reel catch, before beating the defense on the foot race to the end zone, making it 13-0. Not even bad coverage, just a great route by Holmes here, Cynthia Holmes, and then just an excellent catch, and then she turns on the burners, that 99 speed, for that 2-score lead. Now, on the extra point, they go ahead and do a double pass. Jenna Moreau gets the ball and throws it back to Trinity Kieran, who makes it a 14-0 lead. Following that, Campbellsville trying to get something going. They go ahead and put Kirosin at quarterback, but not much works out as they do go 3 and out here, not able to get a first down. So let's go to 9 minutes, 50 seconds here. Campbellsville punting the ball. They go ahead and punt it. Anna Vincenzini, I believe, goes ahead and fields this one. She pitches it to Holmes to her left side. Holmes then pitches it to Marrero to her left. Then Marrero runs it up just a little bit here before pitching it back out right to Allison Mangiati. And she goes to the house for a punt return touchdown, the first one of the season. Warner looking like a rugby team here with the lineup, with the pitch. Oh my God, it is beautiful. That makes it 20-0. What's not beautiful is the slant route that is bobbled and eventually dropped here on the extra point. But hey, a highlight is a highlight. 20-0. Warner feeling themselves with a lot of energy, getting everyone involved. It felt like on that punt return there, and just beautiful pitches over and over again. Now back to Campbellsville, they're trying to get something going, but this Warner defense is locking up, and so eventually comes down to a 4th and 2 situation. They decide to go for it, and here's what happens. Yuneli Quiros pitches it to Presley Payne, who then pitches it back to Quiros, but she is swarmed. The defense is there, not allowing anywhere for her to go, and so she is stopped by multiple defenders. And so with 7 minutes left, Warner starts in the red zone, and here is how that goes. A couple plays later, it's 3rd down here. Madison Tingen gets the snap, pump fakes before walking it in for the touchdown, making it 26-0. It becomes 27-0 when Gianna Huang gets the direct snap and walks it in. At this point, it's 27-0. This game is basically over here. Got some quick notes to make though. Tingen does throw a deep 50-plus yard touchdown pass to Holmes that makes it 33-0. Then Rankin finds Alexis Thomas on a nice catch for the touchdown on the slant that makes it 33-6. They also convert by pitching it to Presley Payne, which is good. That makes it 33-7 here. But it is all Warner here, as a direct snap to Gianna Huang in the 4th quarter is good for another touchdown, making it 39-7. But then once again, Campbellsville's Marissa Rankin, finds Alexis Thomas deep for a 40-plus yard touchdown, making it 39-13. But also at this point, Warner were digging into the roster and making sure everyone got plays. So there you go. And unfortunately, that would be the final score, unfortunately, for Campbellsville, as Warner beats them 39-13. Player of the game for me, I think, has to be Cynthia Holmes. 2 receiving touchdowns, was also a big part of that punt return that went for a touchdown. I mean, it was all Warner in this game. I knew after that punt return that it was probably a wrap, though. But let's go ahead and look at stats here, starting with Campbellsville. Marissa Rankin, not even the worst game here. 9 of 13, 95 yards. Did throw 2 touchdowns, but did throw 2 interceptions as well. Yuneli Quiros, I guess, only had 1 pass attempt, which was interesting here. On the ground, though, Marissa Rankin led Campbellsville with 61 rushing yards. Presley Payne adding on 12 more. At receiver, Alexis Thomas was the lead with 59 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Also, Presley Payne, 5 receptions, 27 receiving yards. And then on defense, Angeline Beecher and Hannah Love both had, and Alexis Thomas all had 4 tackles. Now let's go ahead and look at Warner here, making sure everyone got in here. Lead passer Madison Tingen, 8 of 14, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jenna Marrero, 6 of 11, 79 yards. Shay Crooks got in there, 3 of 4, 28 yards. And Courtney Cromer also got some snaps, 1 of 2 for only 5, but still got up in there though. Cromer had 2 rushes there. Crooks had 6 rushing yards. Marrero with 8 rushing yards. Huang and Madison Tingen with 1 touchdown each. Rushing touchdown, that is. Now going over to the receivers, Cynthia Holmes, no surprise here, led the team, 5 receptions, 121 receiving yards on 8 targets, and 2 receiving touchdowns. The next closest was Trinity Kieran, 5 receptions, 43 yards, and then a bunch of other people got some catches here. But on defense, the lead tackler was Anna Vincenzini, 7 and a pick as well. Amiri Logan also had that pick 6 too. As like I said, all Warner in this game as they go ahead and take care of business once more winning 39-13, Cynthia Holmes being player of the game. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about Weber versus Reinhardt here. Kalaya Wimbush getting the start and actually leading a very good drive to start here. They would actually get into the red zone and make it a 4th and 5 situation here with a chance to score, but a huge sack by Jasmine Henry would kill a promising drive. Now, Weber, they would go ahead and get this drive started with a first down here. Wilson finding Kayla Burrows on the out route, but unfortunately, Sage Mabry of Reinhardt does make a couple good plays here, including reading a swing route play all the way through and getting that for a huge tackle for loss. And so that would force a punt here. Now, Reinhardt would get the ball back. They would get a first down past midfield here. I believe that is Wimbush hitting Branham on the drag route and getting that first down. But in the second quarter, that's when this drive would end, as it would eventually come down to third down here, where Wimbush throws the drag to Nina Johnson. She's only able to get 5 yards, but she's still 12 yards short. And so that is when Reinhardt decides to punt it. And so here we go, 10 minutes left, Weber with the football. Sam Wilson scrambles around before dumping it off to Jasmine Henry, who then pitches it to Hayden Roop, who rips up this defense on a huge 40-plus yard play that puts them in the red zone here. But in the red zone, it is 4th down. Let's go ahead and talk about what happens here on this fourth down play here. They go ahead and call that end around play to Caitlin Sigmundy. She gets the handoff, and then she throws it to a wide open Kayla Burrows for a touchdown, making it 6-0. That is pretty much their signature, or one of their signature red zone plays, as they have used it a lot, almost every game, I feel, against opponents here, mostly on extra points though. And so really interesting to see this happen here, but as good as any, that's a touchdown. They also get the conversion. Hayden Roop gets it, making it 7-0 here. Now 5 minutes 50 seconds left. Wimbush scrambles out left. It looks like she's trying to throw the football here, trying to throw it over the linebacker, but the ball must have slipped out of her hands a little bit. Plus, it's also not just the greatest decision, as Breasia Robinson goes ahead and picks her off and then returns it to the house, making it 13-0 here. Sam Wilson walking it in for the conversion, making it 14-0 here. Now, back on offense, here we go. We got Reinhardt. They go ahead and get a first down. Wimbush throwing a nice ball here to Victoria Salmon, who makes an even nicer catch for a 15-yard reception. A couple plays later, though, it's about 4th and 1. Wimbush on the direct snap goes ahead and gets the first down here, taking it herself, and puts them past midfield. That's just before the 2-minute warning here. But once again, it is a 4th and 7 situation with about 48 seconds left here. Wimbush, she's trying to get this team in the red zone. Throws one up here, tries to go over the middle, but Caitlin Sigmundy just absolutely sees it all the way and ball hawks it and grabs an interception, which sets up an opportunity for Weber to potentially score here, and they almost do that on the last play. They go ahead and call a double pass here, handoff to Sigmundy, who then, well, I guess it's not a double pass. Or no, wait, it is. Sorry. But they hand it off to Sigmundy. Let me just get through this. They hand it off to Sigmundy, who then throws it back to Wilson, who then throws it to Hayden Roop, who is uncovered near the end zone, and it's a pretty good ball. She catches it, but she's not able to stay on her feet and literally falls maybe an inch or so short here. And so that's how the half ends. Still, though, Weber with a nice 14-0 lead. Now, in the third quarter, they would go ahead and start the drive with the first down. Weber with the ball. Wilson finds Kayla Burrows, who makes a couple moves here. Nice little juke here and there, making almost 3 or 4 defenders miss, almost half the defense miss, for a huge first down 20-yard play. Now, a couple plays later here, Weber on the hard count does get Reinhardt to jump off sides. That gives them another first down past midfield. Now, as they're trying to move up here, they're on the edge of the red zone. Does come down to a 4th down play here, and here's what happens. Wilson throws a great ball to Caleb Burrows on the post route, who's able to just slip past the defender for the 30-plus yard touchdown, making it 20-0. Great ball by Sam Wilson here, putting it right on the money, just out of reach of the defender, but in stride for Burrows here. Wilson would then find the front pylon here, finding Hayden Roop, who toe taps this one in, making it 21-0. Now, Reinhardt, they're trying to get something going, but unfortunately, on 2nd down, Caleb Burrows hops in front of a Wimbush throw here for another pick six, making it 27-0. This game is pretty much over here. Just some last notes here. Wilson would find Roop deep on a 40-yard post route touchdown, making it 33-0, then eventually 34-0 when Wilson gets that extra point. Then in the 4th quarter here, Reinhardt would get something. Wimbush throws it up to Nina Johnson, who just makes an excellent catch and kind of mosses the defender, making it 33-6. Deshae Brandon would then toe tap it in for the conversion, making it 34-7. And there you go. That is your final score. Weber defeats Reinhardt 34-7. Player of the game, in my opinion, Caleb Burrows. She went absolutely ballistic. 2 receiving touchdowns, 1 pick six. She absolutely had to have been the receiving leader for this squad, as Weber finishes the road trip undefeated. The last game of this flag football frenzy would be between Campbellsville and Cottey. Campbellsville not winning one yet, as well as Cottey this week. And so here we go. Here's how it goes down. I'm going to fast forward a couple plays, as Campbellsville, they would get the ball. It would end up being a turnover on downs. Cottey, they would get the ball as well, but they would eventually go 3 and out. And so here we go, 2nd drive for Campbellsville. By the way, for Cottey, both Angie Cruz and Daniela Goodrich are playing in this one, so just keep that in mind here. But here's what happens. 3 minutes, 38 seconds on the first play. Kerryon Cloyd on the handoff, is on the handoff and goes ahead and stops that for no gain. That makes it 2nd down here. And on 2nd down, Marissa Rankin, quarterback for Campbellsville, goes over the middle, finding a soft spot in the zone, which is Alexis Thomas, her number 1 receiver, for the 1st down past midfield. Following that, a couple plays in and almost an interception by Daniela Goodrich. It is 4th down here, and here is what happens. Rankin runs out left, baits the defenders in. One of them is out of position, and once she does that, she goes ahead and pitches it to Presley Payne, who gets a huge gain. And not only that, she walks into the end zone for the touchdown, taking it to the house for a 20-yard touchdown, 6-0 on the power option here. Now, good defense by Shamies Lee would make the extra point no good. Now, let's go ahead and go into the 2nd quarter here. Things start out promising for Cottey as they do get a 1st down. Maya Karula finding her receiver Joliet Johnson, who does get them the 1st down. But unfortunately, it does come down to a 3rd down play here. And Maya Karula takes a shot deep to Angie Cruz, but this one is just way overthrown. And so Cottey is forced to punt here. Now, after getting a 1st down here, where JC Harper on the sweep gets about 15 yards, eventually it comes down to a 4th and 7 play. And so 4th and 7, trying to extend this drive. Marissa Rankin under pressure, tries to throw to a receiver, but this one's overthrown. Good pressure by Cloyd here. That is a turnover on downs. Cottey does get the football, but unfortunately they just go 3 and out. Just not being able to really hit on too much here. Some overthrown footballs and not getting too many yards on the run plays anyways. And so just like that, they turn it back over to Campbellsville. It's about 3 minutes, 10 seconds left here just before midfield. Here's what happens. 2nd down, Marissa Rankin throws it to Presley Payne, who spins out of another tackle and then beats out the defense for a huge gain and a 1st down past midfield, showing off some of her athleticism there, getting that 1st down. 2-minute warning then hits. Then it's 2nd down here. 2nd down. They're in the red zone. And this is what happens. Marissa Rankin gets a snap and rips it deep, which Alexis Thomas just goes up and absolutely mosses the defenders here and makes it a 12-0 game on the 20-plus yard touchdown. Stays 12-0 because they don't get the extra point here. And so just a great play here by Rankin to Thomas, and you love to see that for Campbellsville. Now, a minute 31 seconds left for Cottey. They're not out of it. They go ahead and decide to put in Jennifer Haberstock at quarterback, benching Amaya Karula temporarily here. And so she goes ahead and gets the first down by throwing it to Angie Cruz for the 5-yard gain and that first down. A couple plays later, it's about a minute and a second left here in the second half. 3rd and 12 here. Haberstock throws the out route to Daniela Goodrich, but this one is just a little bit too high, and so it's tipped up into the air where Presley Payne cleans this one up, picks it off, and not only picks it off, returns it to the house, making it a dominant 18-0 lead here. Extra point no good, but just a great play by Presley Payne to go ahead and get her hands on this one and then return it to the house here. Campbellsville really feeling themselves. Still though, 50 seconds left in this game, and here's what happens. Karula is now back in at quarterback here. Interesting enough, and she goes ahead and scrambles right, gets about 3 yards on first down. Second down, about 40 seconds left. Karula throws it, but this time it's a little bit too high here, and a receiver pops it up in the air, where this time Hannah Love gets another interception for Campbellsville and then returns it not to the house but to the red zone, setting them up in a perfect situation here to go up by multiple scores and really put Cottey away in the first half. Everything going Campbellsville's way. And so here we go. Yanela Quiros now in at quarterback, throws it on a rope to JC Harper on the seam route, who just makes a physical catch and falls into the end zone for the touchdown. I believe that's her first career touchdown of her career for JC Harper, making it 24-0. 22 seconds left. I mean, it's been a horrible 1 minute 90 seconds for Cottey here. Basically, they just run out the clock and go into the second half. Campbellsville, the dominant 24-0 lead, everything going their way. Now in the second half, not much changes here. Campbellsville does get one more score here in the fourth quarter, where Rankin pitches it to Yaneli Quiros. That makes it a 30-0 game, plus the extra point is good, which now makes it 31-0. That game becomes over, but throughout this whole second half, Cottey just struggled to get something going. Campbellsville playing really good lockdown defense, and so there you go. That is actually the final score of this game. Campbellsville getting their first win over an NAIA opponent. Not the first one in program history, because they did beat Bryant and Stratton College, but that is their first win against an NAIA opponent where they just dominated this game. The last 90 seconds of that first half, they finished extremely strong and did not look back here. I do want to read off some of these stats here before I talk about who's player of the game, but Marissa Rankin, 15 of 21, playing a really good game, 118 yards, 1 passing touchdown. Yaneli Quiros, 2 of 3 for 19 yards. She also had a passing touchdown here. On the ground here, Presley Payne, 5 rushes, 62 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Yaneli Quiros adding on 5 yards and a rushing touchdown as well. Through the air, Alexis Thomas was the lead receiver, 4 receptions, 55 receiving yards, and a touchdown. JC Harper had that other touchdown as well. And Presley Payne, by the way, 2 receptions, 31 receiving yards. And then on defense, Hannah Love, 5 tackles. That would lead the team along with JC Harper, who also had 5 tackles, but Hannah Love with an interception. And then you also have Presley Payne with 3 tackles and that pick 6 as well. Like I said, all Campbellsville here. I gotta say, player of the game, I think, absolutely has to be Presley Payne. Had that rushing touchdown, had that pick 6, which I feel like were real game changers, especially that pick 6. I mean, look, she had 93 total yards of offense here. 1 touchdown on offense, 1 touchdown on defense. I mean, she was a big-time player. And honestly, throughout this whole flag football frenzy, she made some really good plays and has really emerged as one of the top options for Campbellsville here. So you absolutely love to see that. Now, going over to Cottey, I mean, this was just a bad game. They just had a bad game. It wasn't their day, and you could tell as those 90 seconds in the first half really kind of just exposed some of that here. But still want to talk about some stats. Jennifer Haberstock, 6 of 12 here, 32 yards and a pick. Maya Karula, 3 of 10, 17 yards and a pick. Alyssa Hollis got in there, went 4 of 4 for 25 yards. So there you go. On the ground, Karula had 18 yards. She was the leader there. Hollis not too far behind her with 14 yards. Through the air, just not a whole bunch of production here. Angie Cruz, 4 receptions, 22 yards. That was the leader right there. Now on defense here, you had multiple players with, one player with 5 tackles. That's Shamise Lee. But Angie Cruz had 10 here in this game. Just not Cottey's game. I mean, offensively, they were struggling. And maybe part of it you could credit to Maya Karula potentially still being slightly injured and hindered on the day, having to play multiple games after getting that injury. That's obviously tough, but it's not like her backups did that much better. And so definitely something to keep an eye on, and a little disappointing if you are Cottey. I mean, that game against Reinhardt was definitely a game they could have won. This game against Campbellsville, I felt like was a game they could have won. But Campbellsville, I mean, they just went on a run here in those 90 seconds and did not look back. And Cottey just couldn't get anything on offense. That's a tough go there, but that'll wrap up the flag football frenzy. We do have one more game on March 15th, though, this time in Nebraska here. It is a big game between Midland hosting Kansas Wesleyan here. Kansas Wesleyan currently 7th in our power rankings, Midland at 8. Both of them vying for that second spot in the KCAC, with Ottawa obviously having the number 1 spot here. And so this would be a big game. By the way, Midland currently undefeated. Kansas Wesleyan, their only loss on the season was to Ottawa. So 2 very good squads. And so here's how it gets going. A lot of energy here in this game. Michaela Nunez getting the start at quarterback for Midland as Midland starts with the ball. And Nunez starts this drive by finding Emily Farron on the out route for a first down. But a couple plays later, it's 4th and 4 here. Nunez goes ahead and goes deep, finding a wide open receiver for a huge 20-yard gain here. Couldn't see the receiver here, but a good throw, obviously, and a first down past midfield. Once more, though, it is a 4th and 1 situation on the edge of the red zone. Here's what happens. Nunez finds Emily Farron on the little spot route over the middle. That's for a first down in the red zone. But once more, it comes down to a 4th down play here. Just a couple yards out, maybe 5 yards out from the end zone. And here's what happens. Michaela Nunez has to go ahead and throw it on the run here, but it is incomplete. That ends up being a turnover on downs. Do want to note, sack by Jasmine Whitfield on second down would be pretty key to making this a tough 4th down situation for Midland. And so let's go ahead and talk about Kansas Wesleyan here, trying to get something going. But unfortunately, on the first drive, they actually go 3 and out here. They don't go 3 and out. Brianna Hernandez Silva does find Kieran DeCure on the out route. She gets the first down, but after that, they go 3 and out. You have a couple dropped passes here. You also have a penalty that really hurt them, which was an illegal forward pass. I believe this was when Hernandez Silva dumped it off to Kendra Velasquez Monroe. Then she tried to pitch it, but they called it an illegal forward pass, and so that kind of killed that drive. Now, Midland, they get the ball back. A couple plays in, it does become a 4th and 6 situation, though. That's when we head into the second quarter. 4th and 6 here. Here's what happens. Michaela Nunez dumps it off to Jocelyn Lopez here, trying to find some room to operate, but she is corralled by this Kansas Wesleyan defense and stopped short. That is a turnover on downs. And then Kansas Wesleyan, they get the ball, 11:52 seconds. Once again, they are not able to get anything going. They actually go 3 and out here. Things to keep in mind, an illegal contact penalty on Kansas Wesleyan on third down would really hurt them, as they would push them back a couple yards. Sydney Red for Midland would kind of go ahead and hammer in the nail in the coffin on this drive with a huge sack on third down. That would basically be all the things that would force this 3 and out here. Now, Midland with the football. Here's how it goes down. Third down, Michaela Nunez tries to go over the middle, but Alexa Mansour comes up with a huge interception. But before the interception, there is a penalty against Kansas Wesleyan for illegal contact. I believe they knocked down the blocker for Midland here. And so the pick is erased, and not only is it erased, but they are moved into the red zone with a fresh set of downs here. And so here we go in the red zone. It's about 2nd and 4. Nunez goes to Olivia Dominguez Millsap, who gets a minimal gain, but they call another penalty on Kansas Wesleyan for illegal contact. Same thing, defender knocking down the blocker. And so that makes it 2nd down with half the distance to the goal line. Couple penalties really helping out Midland and killing Kansas Wesleyan. And that's when Michaela Nunez goes ahead, fakes the run forward, but just before she crosses the line of scrimmage, pitches it forward to Casey Thompson for the 2-yard passing touchdown, technically, to make it 6-0. Now on the extra point here, Michaela Nunez has an open Casey Thompson in the back, but she airs it out just a little bit too much. It is a windy day, and so the extra point is no good. Midland, though, will take that lead. Now 7 minutes 15 seconds here, Kansas Wesleyan looking to put something together. Brianna Hernandez Silva finds Ashley Hawthorne on the curl route. That goes for a first down there. A couple plays later, it is 4th and 5 here. Brianna Hernandez Silva throws it over the middle, but there is a penalty on Midland for illegal contact. Believe their defender ran into the blocker and knocked her down, which gives Kansas Wesleyan the first down past midfield. Shades of Midland's drive almost on this one. After a short gain by Ashley Hawthorne here on the catch, it's 4th and 1 here just after the 2-minute warning. Here's what happens. Brianna Hernandez Silva looking around, eventually just goes ahead and underhands this one under pressure to Kendra Velasquez Monroe, who gets the first down in the red zone here. Now in the red zone with a chance to tie this thing up, here's how it goes down. Hernandez Silva scrambles around and throws an interception here to Aaliyah Livingston, but fortunately for Kansas Wesleyan, an illegal contact penalty erases that and moves them up with the first down on the 7-yard line. And so looking to take advantage of this, Brianna Hernandez Silva tries to scramble but only gets a yard thanks to a good pull by Olivia Dominguez Millsap. 2nd down here, Brianna Hernandez Silva on the option, runs it in herself. She ties the game, makes it a 6-6 game with 41 seconds left in the first half here. Now on the conversion, they get the lead. If they get the conversion, here's what happens. Hernandez Silva throws it to Angel Amaras, who makes a physical catch on the drag, holding on to it and giving Kansas Wesleyan the 7-6 lead here before the half. Now, here's how it goes down for Midland. They're trying to get something going. There's about, I want to say, it's first down in about 15 after Michaela Nunez hits Alyssa Butler on the slant route. And so about 35 seconds left after that, Michaela Nunez throws it over the middle, but this one is intercepted by Alexa Mansour. Just a great interception here, catches it on a knee. And so that gives Kansas Wesleyan a chance to extend their lead with 30 seconds left. And so here's what happens. First down, Hernandez Silva fakes the pitch and then goes and gets the first down into Midland territory past midfield. A couple of plays later, we got the last play of this half. Hernandez Silva rolls out left before heaving one to Angel Roman, who comes back for the football and catches it tries to lunge for the end zone, but is called just short, mere inches short, as the clock runs out here. And so they're not able to extend the lead, but they still have it 7-6 going into the third quarter, where they do get the ball to start. And so here's what happens here. Hernandez Silva with a lot of time to throw, nowhere really to go, looking around. Receivers are freelancing at this point. She eventually finds Jada Wilson near the sideline, who then breaks free, makes a player miss here, and then gets a big gain of about 25 yards and a first down near midfield. Couple plays later, a sack by Sydney Redwood happened, and then a couple incompletions would force a 4th down and 5 situation here. And on 4th and 5, Brianna Hernandez Silva goes over the middle to a receiver, but Amari Carroll for Midland gets a huge pass breakup, big time play for her, and goes ahead and forces a turnover on downs. And so Midland gets the ball back here. A great stop by this defense. Now 9 minutes 21 seconds in the third quarter. Michaela Nunez works down the left side and makes a number of KW players miss here for a huge 20-yard rushing play that would go ahead and put Midland in the red zone here. 1st and 12, Nunez hits Casey Thompson. The flat, she gets maybe 2 yards. But it's 2nd down and 9 here. And on 2nd and 9, Michaela Nunez goes back to Casey Thompson. This time over the middle. Looks a lot like the first play that got them to score here. Pitching it over the middle, really, to Casey Thompson, who gets the 8-yard touchdown and retakes the lead for Midland, 12-7. On the extra point, Nunez tries to go over the middle, but it's slightly mistimed here, a little bit behind on the throw, and so the extra point is no good. And so, still though, Midland has to feel good with the lead. 7 minutes, 57 seconds left here. Here is how it goes down. Brianna Hernandez Silva throws it to Ashley Hawthorne on the curl route. She's just barely able to get the first down, but gets it regardless. A play later, it is 2nd down here. Here's what happens. Brianna Hernandez Silva hits Hawthorne once more, this time on the out route. She goes ahead and gets the first down, this time past midfield. Now, couple plays later, it is 3rd and 7 here. Brianna Hernandez Silva has a lot of time to throw here, but Midland's coverage is almost perfect here. Really top tier, covering extremely well, as Brianna Hernandez Silva has nowhere to go with the football and is forced to roll out left, trying to freelance before she just throws it away. And so that brings up 4th and 7 here after some great coverage by Midland. And on 4th and 7, Brianna Hernandez Silva throws the curl route to Ashley Hawthorne. Casey Thompson is there to make the stop, but Hawthorne is just able to slip out of her hands and gets the first down in the red zone there. Bit of a missed opportunity for Midland. It's in the red zone, you know they are dangerous because of Brianna Hernandez Silva's ability to both run and pass. And to start, she runs for about 3 yards, bringing up 2nd and 4. On 2nd down, she scrambles again, forced to scramble again as there's nowhere to go with the ball here. She gets maybe 2 yards. That brings up 3rd and 2 here. That's when Kansas Wesleyan's coaching staff, shout out Tarek Smith and Melinda Wynn, the head coach, just calls a great play here. It's an RPO here. Hernandez Silva fakes it. She looks like she's about to take it in herself. The defense collapses on her. She throws it to the back of the end zone, finding Angel Amares wide open in the back for a 2-yard passing touchdown, making it 13-12 here. Following that, Brianna Hernandez Silva finds a wide open Angel Roman in the corner on the extra point, making it 14-12. Fired up, feeling that after a really tough drive here. Midland playing good defense, but Kansas Wesleyan, which is honestly slightly better offense here, making the plays they needed to. And then that call on that RPO was huge to really put those Midland defenders in conflict there. And so there you go there. Now, let's go ahead and go to Midland. They have the ball here with about 1 minute 30 seconds left. Michaela Nunez in at quarterback goes ahead and gets the first down here. Pitches it to Jocelyn Lopez, who gets that first down. Nothing too much happens left here in the third quarter, so let's go ahead and go into the fourth quarter here where it is third down. Michaela Nunez on the power option pitches it to Jocelyn Lopez, who gets them the first down and a little bit more. And so just like that, it is 1st and 13, I believe, past midfield. Couple plays in though, 4th and 6. They're on the edge of the red zone. Here's how it goes down. Michaela Nunez rolls out left and finds Casey Thompson, who toe taps this one in for the first down in the red zone. Great play by both of these players here to get them going. Now in the red zone, here's what happens. Nunez runs it up the middle before pitching it. Almost picked off, almost intercepted here, but it falls to the ground harmless, so it's no gain here. Second down here, nice little shovel option play where Nunez finds Thompson. She gets about 3 yards. 3rd and 15, Michaela Nunez goes deep to Olivia Dominguez-Millsap, but she gets kind of turned around here and is not able to bring in the football. 4th and 15. And so 4th and 15 in the red zone with a chance to take the lead. Michaela Nunez goes over the middle to Cassandra Chavez, but unfortunately this one is knocked down by Kansas Wesleyan. Good job by them holding strong in the red zone. And so about 5 minutes left here. Here's how it goes down. Brianna Hernandez-Silva on the read option, slides her way forward for the first down on a nice gain of 5 or 8 yards. Let's move forward a little bit here. 3rd down, Brianna Hernandez-Silva forced to throw to Angel Roman, who makes a high point catch, but that only goes for about 5 or so yards here. Kansas Wesleyan short on this play here, and so it's 4th down. Midland does call their second timeout before this 4th down, and Kansas Wesleyan decides to punt it. And so here we go, 2 minutes 36 seconds left. Midland with a chance to take the lead and win the game. They go ahead and return this punt just before midfield. Now to start this drive doesn't go well as it results in a sack by Layla, I believe, Casillan. And so that brings up 2nd down here. Michaela Nunez goes deep, and this time it's almost intercepted by Angel Roman. That brings up 3rd down here, but the 2-minute warning does stop the clock at 1 minute 54 seconds as they pass it during that play. And so back to 3rd down here. Michaela Nunez finds Alyssa Butler on the curl route, who makes a move and gets a first down past midfield for about 10 yards. Clock stopped at 1 minute 49 seconds as she is able to get out of bounds here. And so 1st down here, cross midfield, Michaela Nunez finds Casey Thompson, who almost gets the first down on the curl route catch, but is a little short. It's about 2nd and 1 here, where on 2nd and 1, Nunez then finds Alyssa Butler on the hitch route, who then gets them in the red zone. Also gets out of bounds. And so there's about 1 minute 10 seconds left in the red zone. You have 4 downs here. It's 1st and 13. Here's what happens. Michaela Nunez finds Olivia Dominguez-Millsap, who just sits in between zones. A very good play, smart play by her, and then catches the football for about 6 or so yards over the middle. At that point, Midland calls their last timeout with about 43 seconds left. It is 2nd and 7, so plenty of time here for Midland to first off talk it over and get something going. And so 2nd and 7, Michaela Nunez looks like she's about to scramble right up the middle, then makes a 5-yard pitch backwards almost to Jocelyn Lopez, who walks in for the touchdown. The crowd is going crazy here, but there is a penalty, but it's a legal contact called on Kansas Wesleyan. This penalty will be assessed on their drive here, and so they will be starting 10 yards behind where they would usually start here. In the meantime, Midland just took the lead here, 18-14, and they elect to go for 3 because obviously going for 1 or 2 would not make this a 7-point game, and so they're going for 3 here. And so they run the extra point play. It's intercepted, doesn't go anywhere, but there's about 39 seconds left in this game. Kansas Wesleyan, they got pretty much the length of the field to drive because of that illegal contact penalty here. And so here we go, 39 seconds left. Here's how it goes down. Brianna Hernandez-Silva forced to scramble, gets out of bounds for maybe 3 yards there. 2nd down. that was kind of a longer play there. 29 seconds left. Brianna Hernandez Silva throws it towards the sideline where Kieran DeCure brings in a tough catch and also takes a tough hit, it looks like. Kind of shoves her from Alyssa Butler. That's a penalty. And so not only does Kansas Wesleyan get the first down, but they also get, I believe they get the penalty yards assessed on that. And so at this point, 22 seconds left, first down here. Here's what happens next. Brianna Hernandez Silva on the run. Finds Kieran DeCure, who catches it for 10 plus yards past midfield and then is able to step out of bounds as well. And so clock is stopped here at 17 seconds left. And here's what happens. Brianna Hernandez Silva buys a lot of time before lofting another pass towards the left sideline to Kieran DeCure for a first down in the red zone. On top of that, she gets out of bounds here with 6 seconds left. And so just like that, a couple plays here where Kansas Wesleyan receivers, really just Kieran DeCure making all these catches here, keep catching the ball and stepping out of bounds right next to the sideline. So they're managing the clock really well. And so at this point, they're in the red zone here. There's about 6 seconds left. They got about 20-ish yards to go here. They maybe have 2 plays. And so here's what happens. Brianna Hernandez Silva gets the snap, feels the pressure, is forced out left, almost gets her flag pulled, rips it down the left sideline here, throwing it deep to Angel Amares, who catches the football. It's a touchdown, and it's a game winner as the clock runs out. A game winner buzzer beating touchdown as Kansas Wesleyan wins 20-18 here. Sensational play by Brianna Hernandez Silva and Angel Amares, who I believe had 2 touchdowns in this game here. Angel having both of those touchdowns in the second half, which were just extremely clutch here. But Brianna Hernandez Silva leading an excellent drive, calm, cool, and collected, throwing a really tough pass, and it was into double coverage too. The corner was there, and he had the safety just overhead, but she squeezed this one kind of near the sideline, and it was just a perfect throw. And if you watch the replay, what's funny is that when she does get forced out of the pocket here, she has a wide open receiver on the right side, and so if she turned around and threw it across her body, that probably would have been a layup for a touchdown, as well as Midland just missed her there. But instead she elects to go for the tougher throw here, which is, it is right in front of her, so there's no surprise here, and she makes the throw. And Amares here, just golly, excellent catch. It sounded like she made a one-handed catch and got both feet in for this touchdown as Kansas Wesleyan wins a big-time conference game 20-18 on the road here in Nebraska. Player of the game, I think, has to go to Brianna Hernandez Silva. 2 passing touchdowns, obviously had that rushing touchdown as well here. I mean, she does a lot for this offense here, and she definitely performed and delivered for this squad. Someone who was definitely in consideration was Angel Amares. I mean, 2 touchdowns in this game. Both were huge, but obviously they were tough throws as well. And so a lot of credit to her too. But also just a lot of credit to this Kansas Wesleyan team gritting this one out and finding a way to get it done. So many players stepping up in this one and also shaking off some of those early penalties and having a very clean drive. I mean, 39 seconds, length of the field to go, especially after that penalty on that last drive for Midland. Write a better script. You just can't write a better script. So there you go there. Midland, on the other hand, honestly played a really good football game. I mean, this game was pretty much over. I thought it was over when they went ahead and scored here. Just a great pitch by Michaela Nunez to take that lead. And I was ready to give her player of the game. Michaela Nunez, that is. But unfortunately, I mean, just those sideline throws and catches just killed them. They allowed too many, and then obviously that penalty on this last drive also killed them. Not too much though, but it's just a tough go, but in my opinion, I felt like Midland played well enough to potentially win this one. They just came up short. Still, though, was really impressed by what they did in this game here. This is one they definitely should have won, though, and so unfortunately their undefeated season is no longer undefeated, as I believe they're now 7-1 or 6-1. Still, though, in a good spot, probably won't like drop in the power rankings, and so just a heartbreaker for Midland. But you know, there's things you can learn from this, and they'll move on. Okay, speaking of moving on, originally we had 2 games scheduled for March 18th, 2023. It was going to be Kansas Wesleyan, I believe, versus the University of St. Mary, and then it was going to also be Midland versus Cottey, so a couple KCAC games, but both of those games were postponed today due to weather. I believe they'll be playing those games near the end of the season. And so we're just going to go ahead and hop into Playmakers of the Week. Playmaker of the Week. First off, I do want to shout out all of our players of the game. There were a ton of games, so yeah, just be patient with us there. But we have Campbellsville versus Thomas, the game from March 13th here. Player of that game was Britt Delva. She had a pick 6 that did make it a 3-score game. And then in that Campbellsville versus Warner game, player of the game for me has to be Jenna Marrero. 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. They won 20-0. That was still a pretty close one there, so there you go there. Now moving on to the next day, March 14th, Thomas versus Reinhardt. The player of that game was Alexa Wilson, who was on fire that game. 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown in a 39-0 dub. Moving on, Thomas versus Cottey here. Once again, it has to go to Alexa Wilson. 38-6 dub. Also 5 passing touchdowns. I mean, just on fire this week here. So there you go there. Moving on to Campbellsville versus Weber here. Sam Wilson, 3 passing touchdowns in that game, in that 27-0 dub. So there you go. Then we got Warner versus Reinhardt. Player of the game, Madison Tingen, 3 passing touchdowns. This was a blowout, 52-6. Bunch of players got in, a bunch of contributors were in this one, but I think Madison Tingen definitely deserves the honors here because of how well she played in this one. Then Cottey versus Weber here. Player of the game, Kayla Burrows, 1 pick 6, 1 receiving touchdown, also had an extra point catch. This was a 41-0 blowout win. So a lot of different players contributed to this one, but in my opinion, Kayla Burrows really got this thing going. And then I believe this is the second to last game on the 14th here. We have Campbellsville versus Reinhardt. This was a big one. I gotta say, player of the game has to be Deshae Branham. 1 receiving touchdown, also had that pass breakup to go win this game here. In a game where Reinhardt got their first win in program history, 12-7. So that is obviously big time. And I believe this is the last game from the 14th, Cottey versus Warner here. Warner winning big, 39-0. Cynthia Hobbs, 3 receiving touchdowns in the first half, 4 touchdowns total. She is the player of the game for Warner. Now moving on to games from the 15th here, we have Cottey versus Reinhardt. Close game, 6-0. Player of the game, Nina Johnson, scored the only touchdown in this one, gave Reinhardt their second win in program history. Moving on, Campbellsville versus Warner. Player of the game here, Cynthia Hobbs once more. She had 2 receiving touchdowns, also was a big part of that 1 touchdown that went. It was a punt return that went for a touchdown, so there you go. Then we got Weber versus Reinhardt here. Player of the game has to be Kayla Burrows once more. 2 receiving touchdowns, 1 pick 6. They beat Reinhardt 34-7. Then we got Campbellsville versus Cottey. This one surprisingly was a blowout, 31-0. Presley Payne player of the game. Played well really all week long. In this game, had a rushing touchdown, also had a pick six that really put this thing away for Campbellsville, giving them their first dub of this week. And then finally, the last game, we got Midland versus Kansas Wesleyan. Really struggled with this one, actually, now that I look back at it and we watch some of it. But I think player of the game absolutely has to be Brianna Hernandez-Silva. 1 rushing touchdown and then 2 passing touchdowns, including the one to win the game in the final seconds there. Angel Amares had 2 receiving touchdowns, in this game, including in this last half. She was definitely somebody that I considered here. But I'm going to have to go with Brianna Hernandez-Silva. She did get that rushing touchdown, which ended up being pretty big, and she did command all of their scoring drives, which are huge in the end, including that last one where they went the length of the field in about 39 seconds. Now, as far as Playmaker of the Week goes, for this Week 5, I believe I'm going to have to go with Brianna Hernandez-Silva from Kansas Wesleyan. Look, this was a close game. There were multiple times in this game where Midland had the lead, and plus they're playing at home. It's a tough go here. I mean, there were times where Midland had that lead, and Kansas Wesleyan just had to find a way to battle back here. They were originally down 6-0 before going up 7-6 here on Brianna Hernandez-Silva. First off, running it in to get the touchdown to even score here, and then throwing the drag route to go ahead and make it 7-6. That is to Angel Amares, by the way. But then Midland would take the lead back once more, 12-7. They would go ahead and respond back by making it 14-12. And then in the fourth quarter, Midland putting together a great drive, seemingly putting this away, making it 18-14 with 36 seconds left, and then driving the length of the field here. You gotta remember, there was a penalty that pushed them even farther back from the normal starting spot, and scoring at the end. That is huge. Made some really good throws, and I mean, there were times where Midland was just playing perfect coverage, and she was really patient, stuck it out in the pocket before finding players for pretty good gains near those sidelines, and just being really situationally aware. And so gotta give it to her, Playmaker of the Week. A lot of great players here that performed, but a lot of these were blowouts, I'm not even gonna lie. And I mean, games where, like I said, you could check last week's episode, I felt like these were dubs that those teams should have gotten. Especially I'm looking at some of those Sun Conference teams. They definitely should have won there. Obviously, it's good for the game for them to go play opponents not in the Sun Conference and play first year programs so that those programs could get better. But I'm not going to give them Playmaker of the Week for doing their job here. Obviously, Brianna Hernandez-Silva did her job here, winning a close one. But, I mean, obviously, this is a lot of credit to Midland as well, being a formidable opponent, really pushing them here, and just escaping with a win. And so, gotta give credit to Kansas Wesleyan as a whole, and Brianna Hernandez-Silva, who is your Week 5 Playmaker of the Week. Alright, now let's go ahead and hop into the power rankings here. Let me talk about the Week 4 power rankings real quick. So, last week, not a lot of movement in the top 8, but a lot of movement on the back end. Let's start at 15. We had Bethel College. At 14, we had Milligan. 13, Reinhardt. 12, Campbellsville. 11, St. Mary. 10, Florida Memorial. 9, Cottey. 8, Midland. 7, Kansas Wesleyan. 6, St. Thomas. 5, Weber. 4, Warner. 3, Kaiser. 2, Thomas. And number 1 is Ottawa. Now this week, not a lot has changed. So the top 8 actually stays the same. So at 8, it's Midland, Kansas Wesleyan, St. Thomas, Weber, Warner, Kaiser, Thomas, and Ottawa. But the back end definitely changes a little bit here. And so let's go ahead and get this started. At 15, dropping a spot, is Milligan. Haven't played a game, looked at their schedule again. Don't have anybody scheduled, didn't see anybody scheduled yet for this season. Definitely concerned about that. I know they did sign a couple players, that's great, but you're gonna have to play someone eventually. For now, they do move to 15 as they haven't played anybody yet. At 14, we got Bethel here. Look, didn't play this week, but we're going to move them up. I mean, look, they're at least playing teams. We're going to give them that credit. I mean, they're a first-year program. Got to give them a little bit of slack, so they are moving up here. Now, at 13, moving down a couple of spots, I believe 2 spots from the original 11th spot, is the University of St. Mary. Cottey and I both decided they should move down here. Did not play this week, but the thing is, we got to see a lot of the teams in front of them play, and myself and Cottey both agreed from watching all of those teams in front of them play, we both kind of feel like they could beat St. Mary. They're just deeper, honestly, and right now they have a little bit more talent as well. As, you know, the last time we saw St. Mary play, they only literally had 7. That's not a great look here. Now, at 12, moving down from their 9 spot from last week is Cottey. Just some tough breaks, honestly. I mean, look, lost to Campbellsville, lost to Reinhardt. The Reinhardt game was definitely one they could have won. One could argue if they had their full squad there with Goodridge and Cruz, that's definitely a winnable game. But they didn't, and they lost, which is interesting because both of those players would come back later in the day. Now, we don't know what their pain tolerance was like or what kind of pain they're going through, so we will give them the benefit of the doubt. But obviously, not the greatest look if, you know, they come back later in the day and play another game, which honestly, they did come back later in the day and they would play Campbellsville, where they just got beat. You know, they just got blown out, and that's probably not the best they could play. Part of it is probably a fluke, I'm not even gonna lie. They just had an off game. You know, they didn't play great here. They didn't really play as good as we know they can, and it showed. And that's why Campbellsville won and beat them pretty significantly here. Now, here's the thing. They could definitely continue to move up, but they're going to have to win and beat some of these teams in front of them for them to do that. Now, at number 11, we got Campbellsville. This was one of the teams that really showed us a lot this week, and they got better. You know, they did make a couple changes between Rankin and Kiros. They found, in my opinion, a little bit more success with Kiros here, but you know, Rankin did get them that big dub over Cottey, and you gotta give her that credit. And so it's going to be interesting to see where they go at that quarterback position, because I believe they also played Reinhardt pretty close there, but they lost. You know, they lost, and there was, I guess you could call it, some controversy about whether it was a catch or there wasn't. At the end of the day, in my opinion, you gotta complete the process of a catch. You know, you want to make it a catch, don't drop the ball at all. You just can't do that, and you're gonna learn that moving on. I mean, there are lessons to be learned there, and so it is what it is, but definitely got better. Definitely some players who have really emerged here that I do want to shout out. Presley Payne has been a very impressive athlete, somebody that they've relied on in the run game, on defense as well. She could get it done. She's a great piece to work around with in a young program. Also want to shout out JC Harper. That's another great athlete over there who did her thing. I mentioned both Rankin and Kiros. Both of them could definitely play, you know, and so those are just a few athletes that I wanted to mention, but definitely showed me something this last week, making plays against some of these teams in the Sun Conference as well, you know, but they're going to continue to put it together. We'll see where they're at as the season continues to progress, but I think this week was a very key and vital to their development as a program. And so for now, they're at 11, but they could definitely move up. Now, speaking of teams that have also grown, is right here at number 10, Reinhardt here. I think they've continued to get better. Did make the decision to go to Kalia Wimbush here after initially starting Ashlyn McKinley. I thought Wimbush did pretty solid. Obviously, she had her ups and downs, but I think she was more of a positive force here. Probably has earned herself another start or two moving forward, so we'll see how that goes. I do want to shout out some of the players that have really stepped up for them. Carson Paget, she had some big games, borderline player of the game in some of Playmaker of the game in some of these matchups of this week here. in their 2 wins, and so I want to shout her out there. Nina Johnson, I believe, has really emerged as a wideout 1, potentially kind of battling that spot out with Deshae Brandon. I think those two have really anchored down this offense, which I feel like, has sputtered a little bit here in their first couple weeks as a program. On defense, there's definitely some players that you really like here. Joelle Jarrett, I feel like, has shown out. Once again, Branham and Johnson have done their thing, and so definitely something to build with. And coming away with 2 wins against Cottey and Campbellsville, I believe both of them were ranked ahead of them. That is huge, and so gotta welcome the Reinhardt Eagles to the top 10 here, right here at 10. Now at 9 we have FMU. It was a shame they didn't participate in this week, because I think it would have been really interesting to see where they were truly at. But from the games that I have seen them play in, and some of the games they were in close matchups in, like Warner, that's one. Thomas, relatively, that's another. It made me feel good about where they're at and justified us moving them up here to 9. So there you go. But that's basically all the changes there. Like I said, the top 8 remains the same. Midland, they had their shot to move up and upset Kansas Wesleyan. You gotta finish the game is what it comes down to. Gotta finish it. You had it. That was your game. And I think most importantly, they did show that they could compete with Kansas Wesleyan and push for that second spot in the KCAC. And obviously they will get their shot at the number 1 spot here. But, to challenge number 1, you gotta beat number 2 first. And so we'll see about that. But I do feel good about Midland here. That's definitely a team that can move up. Now at 7 we got Kansas Wesleyan. They're a tough squad, man. That was a gritty, tough win. But honestly, at the moment, the only way they could potentially move up here is if they beat Ottawa, or if one of the 4, 5 Sun Conference teams in front of them just go on a horrible losing streak and just don't do extremely well. All right, so there you go. At 6, we have St. Thomas. Didn't play this week, but it was what it was. At 5, we got Weber. Hey, got back on track. Got a bunch of dubs. You love to see that. Let's see if they could continue to keep that rolling into Sun Conference play. Same with Warner here at 4, but I do want to talk about them a little bit more here. Warner at 4 is interesting because to me, they have emerged as a black horse. Yeah, a black horse contender, I would say. A black horse candidate, not only in the Sun Conference race, but I would say also in the national picture of things. This week, they really demonstrated how deep they were, because look, you see them like blowing out these teams by 50, by 40. That's great, but you got to realize they're not playing their starters the entire time. They're playing their 4th, 5th string backup quarterbacks, a bunch of different receivers, different combinations of that, playing different defenders. They got to play their whole roster, it felt like. And I said this in the season preview, they are extremely deep. They loaded up this year, building upon the great recruiting class they had last year. And so for them to really stack on that is huge. It's definitely huge. And I do want to shout out a couple freshmen here. Look, Miri Logan, she's been big time as a receiver, making a lot of tough physical catches, which is honestly sometimes just what you need, a player to make those tough catches in traffic, in good coverage, because you're going to find a lot of that, especially in the Sun Conference. That's huge. And then you also have a great player in Anna Vincentini. She's made some big plays. She's also another taller receiver who can make some tougher catches as well. Both of those players have really emerged as options to really relieve the pressure put on Cynthia Holmes, who turned up this weekend, and we know what she could do. We definitely know what Holmes could do. It's up to everyone else to kind of, work from there, because she's going to gain a lot of attention. And she showed, this week what happens when you don't pay enough attention to her. I'm thinking about that one-handed catch she had on that corner route, which was also a good throw, but that's huge. Absolutely love to see that. And then also just looking at their depth at quarterback here. I mean, Jenna Marrero, she gets in. She's kind of their utility running back, quarterback, receiver type of player. She could throw the ball as well, because there are definitely going to be times where Tingen, she's just having an off day, and it happens, right? And then you throw in Marrero, who's a little bit more mobile and whatnot, has a bit of a quicker release. That gives you some versatility there. And there are even times where they go 2 quarterback, right? And they have Marrero and Tingen out there. And so you could just keep throwing it back and forth, tire out the pressure, and then find somebody downfield because you have so many playmakers at wide receiver. And so that's absolutely huge for Warner here. Now, here's the thing. For me, and Cottey told me some things that he wants me to say for him on the podcast. So we'll get to that at the end here. But for me, with Warner, I like them at 4. I'm probably not going to move them down unless they lose to Weber or St. Thomas, which they really shouldn't from what I've seen at this point. I think they're a deeper team here. I don't think that's disrespectful at all. That's just respectful to Warner and what they've built over there. But for them to move up, they have to be a top dog. They have to beat a Thomas. They have to knock off a Kaiser. They're not going to play Ottawa until the national tournament. But for them to really move up in our eyes, they have to beat a Thomas or Kaiser. Getting close is not going to be good enough for them to move up, period. That's just what it is. They got to win. You got the talent. You got the coaching, too. It's not like your coaches are a bunch of idiots. They're good coaches. Shout out Coach Mims. They know what they're doing. At this point, you got to start winning, and you got to start beating top dogs. It's not enough to beat teams that are ranked below you at this point if I'm Warner. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. Year 2 of this regime has been really interesting, and I'm going to say right now, they're the dark horse here when it comes to the national tournament. And remember, last year I said Thomas was the dark horse. Obviously, I said that in the preseason. This is a couple weeks in, especially after this really busy week, but the more I look over Warner film, the more I'm like, yeah, this is a team that can be in the national championship. Now, will they is up to them because they have to beat these top dogs in front of them to do that. Now, at 3, we got Kaiser here. Didn't play this week, but I think my concerns still stay the same from what I said last week and the previous weeks. I mean, it's definitely concerning they haven't scored over 20 points yet. Especially when you look at teams like Warner, Thomas, they're doing that. Obviously not against the same teams that Kaiser is playing because they weren't in that flag football frenzy week. But they're playing Sun Conference opponents. And for Kaiser, I don't know. I don't know if their offense has been clicking to the level they really can be clicking at, which in my opinion is the top offense in the entire country, or one of the top in the entire country. And so we'll see what happens there. Defensively, they could show me a little bit more, I guess. I'm side-eyeing them a little bit here. All they could do now is just continue to win against teams that are ranked below them. And same kind of goes for them. They got to beat Thomas eventually if they want to move up. That's what it is. And so we'll see what happens. But for now, Kaiser's right here at 3. Now at 2 is Thomas, and I feel really good about them. Definitely concerning in that first day. Alexa Wilson she wasn't the most on top of it in that first game, but she heated up and she got really good. That's why she won player of the game twice in a row, because she threw 10 or something touchdowns, scored 10 or so touchdowns in 2 games. And I think that really shows the potential she has. She could be extremely dangerous when hot. When she's on fire, she's on fire. Now, there are going to be times where, she looks like a freshman quarterback, rookie mistakes, maybe doing a little bit too much there. Maybe you got to be a little bit more patient, take the L's as they come, get the dub at the end, the type of mentality. That's something that you hope that she kind of figures out down the road, which she's getting there. Obviously Shelby Hartley is a mentor there, and so that's obviously huge. But I think this Thomas offense has really elevated just a little bit here with Alexa Wilson. Also, shout out to Leah Wood as well. She has been really phenomenal for them, being one of her favorite targets, both, and also being great on defense as well. And she kind of just adds more depth to a Thomas team that I think has also flexed a little bit of their depth, because they did beat some of these teams down pretty well playing some of their backups, and you got to be happy with that, especially considering I don't believe Kiana Cole has played in a game for a couple weeks now, and she's pretty vital to the red zone packages, but they've still found a way to get it done both in the red zone and also just using up the clock as well, because she's also a big part of their clock management squads. And I believe she gets defensive snaps too, and so for them to get these dubs without her, without a big piece of their team playing, that's definitely big time. And so they definitely flexed a bit of their depth this weekend as well. I feel even better about them here at 2, to be honest. Honestly, I wish they played Ottawa, but I can't put them over Ottawa until they beat them. And, at this point last year, they did. But, right, this year. The Ottawa got their get back in the national championship. And so I think there's definitely a war. I could see Thomas being number 1 for sure. I think no doubt they have the best defense in the entire country. This is a scary defense. They could go man on you. They're obviously great enough to go zone on you and really squeeze the life out of your offense. But they could also go man. Keep it simple. And there's not going to be many. There's just not going to be many different matchups that you're going to be able to exploit. Like I said, the addition of Aaliyah Wood has really made them solid, so good, from starter to starter. She would be a DB1 for a lot of other teams. I'm just going to be honest. So there you go there. Not that she doesn't, do some of those things for Thomas, but they have experience. They have more experience, in my opinion. And so Thomas is definitely dangerous. You got to look out for them, because I think they are really gunning to make it to the national championship. And if you're Ottawa, you hopefully don't want to see them in the semis. Not that that would be possible unless Thomas loses a game to Kaiser or Warner. Then we're talking. But I don't know. We'll see. And then at number 1, per usual, we have Ottawa. Played a couple games this week. Won all of them by a lot. They weren't really close here. Or real quick, I should mention that Thomas also won against Fort Lauderdale, and I believe they beat Florida Gateway as well. Ottawa, they would play FAU. They blew them out 39-0. They play UCF, actually, at the time I'm recording this, tomorrow. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to talk about it on the next podcast episode, or the next, recap, actually. I think that'll be a good thing to do, because they play Midland on next Saturday, which should be a big one, as they get back into KCAC play. So yeah, there you go there. But before I wrap up, I do want to just mention what Cottey said here. He said, I just want to really congratulate programs on a ton of firsts through these first few weeks, and especially wins. It gets me excited that they seem to be growing and adapting rapidly, and inspires other programs around the college world that will join, that you can get there quick if you put in the work. And then he said, so I don't know if this is disrespectful or not, but I feel for the top half of the bracket, we really won't know where Thomas or Kaiser really sit until Ottawa plays them, which is a real bummer. He also said the inverse could be true for Ottawa as well. Just with those top 3, I guess top 4 teams, but referring to the other 3 teams in the top 4. And he said, so far another team hasn't shown me enough to warrant as big a threat to those 3, or even more specifically Thomas or Ottawa in his eyes. Definitely have to agree. Look, Thomas, Kaiser, Warner, they're all going to play each other again at least once more. They might even play each other again in the Sun Conference tournament. That'll be really telling of some things. But even then, especially if they're close games and they're one-score games, it'll be hard to justify, putting one or the other. It definitely will, but we're going to do it because, recency bias. And then at 1, we got Ottawa. I mean, unless they lose to one of these KCAC opponents, which they haven't in program history, just putting that out there, they're going to stay at 1. But who knows? Every week is a challenge. We'll see what happens as we do approach. I think we're almost midway through the season. We're getting to midway through the season, at least. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for rocking with us. This was almost a 3-hour episode, so I'll keep this outro pretty short here. We appreciate all the support and love. from all these teams that we get the privilege of covering, from all these great athletes. It's really an honor, and we love being a part of it. There's unfortunately not many other people that cover women's flag football like we do. Shout out our friends at NAIA ball, though, as we do power rankings with them. We vote on their top 4 power rankings, which the last couple weeks have been the same, but like I said, it's up to the teams to upset, right? It's up to the teams that are a little bit lower to win games. That's what it comes down to. And so we will see what happens, but go ahead and show some love on social media at Playmakers Corner. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok while it's around for now. But just in case, we're also go ahead and follow us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, as all the TikToks we posted will be on our YouTube channel as well as shorts, just in case TikTok goes away. And so that gives us, another avenue to post things. So follow us there. And we appreciate you all. Oh, and by the way, if you have any notes or comments, feel free to message us to give us insight. We'll definitely try to include that in these episodes moving forward. But I've been your host, Simon Villanos, aka Coach V, and I will catch you later.